Chapter 24. They set out early in the morning, but they still hadn't made it out of Seven Stars Forest by sunset. However, they were already 50 kilometers away from Silver Fir City, so they decided to travel at night. Moreover, Lin Muyu and Tang Xiaoxi's cultivation had improved so much that Chu Chu wasn't worried about encountering spirit beasts that were too strong. Even if he didn't take action himself, the spirit beasts on the outskirts of Seven Stars Forest could be taken care of by the two juniors. Along the way, Lin Muyu had been silently practicing the demon sonorous fist on horseback. He would either circulate his energy, catch his breath, or punch at the trees in the distance. He did not waste any time along the way. The speed and strength of every punch of the demon sonorous fist grew stronger and stronger. Naturally, the power was also increasing. Seeing this, Chu Chu secretly praised Lin Muyu in his heart. This kid was indeed a rare genius. To be able to master the Thunderstrike Slash, Green Rock Armor, and Demon Sonorous Fist in such a short period of time, how powerful would he be in the future? They arrived at Silver Fir City late at night. When the three of them arrived at the city gates, a guard dressed in red robes had already walked up to restrain Tang Xiaoxi's mount. He smiled respectfully. "Congratulations on your success, Princess Xi. You've broken through the human realm and stepped into the first level of the Earth realm." Tang Xiaoxi smiled slightly. "Thank you. Let's enter the city and stay at the courier house tonight. We'll depart tomorrow morning and return to the imperial capital. I haven't been back in a long time." The guard raised his head to look at Lin Muyu and said in surprise, "This kid looks very familiar." Lin Muyu said, "I'm a worker at 100 Spirits Medicine Shop." "I see. You must be that Lin Muyu who refined a first-grade medicine?" "Ah." The guard laughed dryly for some reason and said, "Tomorrow is the day when the younger generation of Cathaya City's alchemy world will fight for the pardon writ. The young city lord, Hua Wan, is determined to win it, but since you've returned tonight, I'm sure there will be an exciting fight tomorrow. Princess Xi, would you like to watch?" Tang Xiaoxi couldn't resist the temptation and looked back at Chu Chu. Chu Chu smiled helplessly. Fine. We'll leave after watching the fight tomorrow morning. Plus, Princess Xi is the envoy this time. She should be the one to personally issue the pardon." "Yes, thank you, Chu." And so, Tang Xiaoxi seemed to be purposely avoiding him. After Lin Muyu sent Tang Xiaoxi and Chu Chu back to the courier house, he rode back to 100 Spirits Medicine Shop. When he pushed open the door, he saw Chu Yao standing under a tree in the distance, lights swirling around her. She was cultivating her martial soul, the Purple Marten. The Purple Marten was very cute and was very similar to Tang Xiaoxi's martial soul, the Red Fox, but it was much weaker. The Red Fox was a 2nd-grade martial soul, while the Purple Marten was a 5th-grade martial soul. It was the difference between a commoner's martial soul and a noble's. "Sister Chu Yao." Lin Muyu called out softly. Immediately, Chu Yao opened her beautiful eyes and jumped forward in joy, hugging him with open arms. You've returned safely." "Humph, senior brother Wang Ying said that you might not be able to return. Quickly, let me see." She intimately pulled Lin Muyu's arm and looked at him. He seemed to have become stronger, and the flow of true qi on the surface of his body was also much more vigorous than before. The biggest change was the expression in his eyes. Confidence and calmness showed that his strength had increased. "Sister Chu Yao, I have a martial soul." Lin Muyu smiled. Chu Yao said excitedly, "Oh, what kind of martial soul?" Lin Muyu muttered softly, and immediately, the azure gourd came out of his body. He said with some embarrassment, "Azure gourd, a 10th-grade martial soul, but it's still very easy to cultivate." "Oh." Chu Yao hurriedly comforted him. "It's okay, a 10th-grade martial soul is still a martial soul. It will help your cultivation progress. It's good. At most, I'll represent 100 Spirits Medicine Shop in the competition for the special pardon order tomorrow. In any case, I've already cultivated to rank 21. Wow, Sister Chu Yao's cultivation speed is quite fast. I remember that you just broke through rank 19 to rank 20 last time." "That's right." Chu Yao stuck out her full chest and said with a confident smile, "I'm currently the person with the highest cultivation in the entire 100 Spirits Medicine Shop. Do you think I can beat Hua Wan? It's a bit difficult. Lin Muyu touched his nose and said honestly. Chu Yao smiled and lightly patted his shoulder, saying, can't you have a bit of confidence in your senior sister? All right, you must be starving since you came back so late. I'll go make you something to eat. Yesterday, I went into the mountains to gather herbs and caught 2 wild rabbits. I left half for you. That glutton Luo Kai, if it wasn't for me, he would definitely eat the other half. Lin Muyu couldn't help but smile. Her heart felt warm. She didn't know when, but she actually felt like she had returned home. The night passed quickly. Chu Feng, Wang Ying, Luo Kai, and the others all came to see Lin Muyu when they heard that she had returned. Chu Yao was the last to leave Lin Muyu's room. As soon as Chu Yao left, Lin Muyu immediately sat cross-legged on the bed to cultivate the true qi within her body. In this world, the levels of strength were measured by the intensity of one's strength. The more vigorous and pure one's true qi was, the higher one's level of strength would be. She couldn't slack off. The next morning, Chu Yao knocked on the door early in the morning. After breakfast, all the disciples of the 100 Spirits medicine shop went to the venue for the special pardon writ contest. Chu Feng also followed. Ever since Chu Yao had broken through to the 2nd level of the human realm, he had placed great expectations on this granddaughter of his. Perhaps Chu Yao would be able to emerge victorious in this contest? Silver Fir City was known as the alchemy capital of the empire. There had once been 2 alchemy god-level masters in Silver Fir City, but that was a matter of several thousand years ago. Even so, the citizens of Silver Fir City were still diligently pursuing the art of alchemy. The younger generation also wanted to diligently practice alchemy and reclaim the glory of their ancestors. The arena was set up in the drill ground of the city lord's mansion. According to the laws of the empire, every city lord had the right to train a certain number of prefecture soldiers. During non-war times, the prefecture soldiers would be used to eliminate bandits, and during times of war, they would have to join the imperial army. The city lord of Silver Fir City, Hua Tian, had trained a total of nearly 2,000 prefecture soldiers. This was already the limit of this small city with a population of 50,000. The drill ground wasn't big, but it was already overcrowded with citizens who had come to watch the contest. As for the nobles within the city, they had been arranged to sit in the prominent stands. Lin Muyu looked into the distance. As expected, Tang Xiaoxi and Chu Chu were both sitting in the master's seats with Hua Tian. The format of the contest was very simple. Challenge. Moreover, only the top 10 alchemy halls of the medicinal ceremony had the right to send someone to challenge. The young city lord, Hua Wan, was holding a thin sword and wearing a white robe as he stood on the arena. He was the recipient of the special pardon order from the previous medicinal ceremony, and this time, he was the arena lord. His face was filled with pride as he looked at the crowd below the arena. The corner of his mouth rose as he smiled and said, "This junior is Hua Wan, and I am fortunate enough to be the holder of the special pardon order from the previous medicinal ceremony. I am here to welcome the challenges of the young alchemists. Whoever can defeat me will be able to take away the special pardon order from my hands." As soon as he finished speaking, a young man in blue clothes jumped onto the arena with an iron sword in hand. His body was light, and it seemed that his cultivation wasn't low. He cupped his fists and smiled. "Sir Hua, I am Dong Lun of the Azure Sky Medicine Shop. Please enlighten me." Hua Wan smiled. "So it's Dong Lun. Come." He put his hands behind his back and actually carried his sword on his back. He waved his left hand lightly, and a silver shield of air appeared in his palm. He dared to fight his opponent without using a weapon? Luo Kai was shocked. Isn't this young city lord a little too arrogant? He's challenging Dong Lun barehanded? I heard that Dong Lun is already a rank 24 battle spirit. Wang Ying sneered. Don't you see the air shield in Hua Wan's left hand? He can already condense an air shield. This means that he's already broken through rank 29 and stepped into the first level of the Earth realm. What? Luo Kai couldn't help but click his tongue. What a terrifying Hua Wan. Who in the younger generation of Kathaya City can be his match? On the arena, Dong Lun had already made his move. With a shout, The image of a golden arrow appeared on his blade and shot forward. Wang Ying immediately cried out in surprise, "Grade 8 martial spirit, cloud-piercing arrow." The speed of the cloud-piercing arrow was very fast, but it was not faster than Hua Wan's speed. The chi shield in his left palm abruptly met the cloud-piercing arrow, forcibly smashing it into pieces. Hua Wan's palms had already been trained to the point where they were almost impervious to swords and spears. Just like that, he used his bare hands to block the opponent's iron sword. With a kung sound, sparks splashed out. Then, with one hand, he used his middle finger to clamp down on Dong Luan's iron sword. Under the collision of air currents, Dong Luan's cultivation was far inferior to his opponent's. He was pushed back repeatedly, but Hua Wan didn't show any mercy and stabbed the broken sword into Dong Luan's shoulder. Blood splattered everywhere as Dong Luan retreated a dozen steps. He fell to one knee and panted heavily. "I lost." In just a single exchange, Dong Luan had lost. Hua Wan's tyrannical aura was so overwhelming that Wang Ying, Luo Kai, and the other 100 spirits apothecary disciples were all dumbfounded. They almost didn't dare to breathe too loudly. To them, Hua Wan was an expert that they couldn't challenge, an existence that they couldn't even look at. Chu Yao bit her lip, her shoulders trembling slightly. Perhaps it was because of Hua Wan's strength, or perhaps because he was too cruel. "Sister Chu Yao, are you all right?" Lin Muyu asked in concern. "I'm fine." Hua Wan was too ruthless. Yeah. In the end, a few people who went up to challenge Hua Wan all failed. One of them had his arm pierced, and another had his leg broken by Hua Wan's Thunderhammer martial spirit. In any case, none of the losers came out unscathed. This seemed to make Hua Wan, who was on the stage, even more proud. He had already regarded this battle for the Special Pardon Order as an enjoyment. On the side, a mercenary wearing broken armor raised the corner of his mouth and sneered, "I heard that City Lord Hua Tian spent a lot of money to buy a 3,000-year-old Thunder Spirit stone from a wandering merchant 2 days ago. It seems that the young City Lord has already refined the power of the Spirit Stone. Otherwise, how could he have broken through to the first layer of the Earth Realm, level 33, so quickly?" When he said level 33, Lin Muyu clearly saw a trace of surprise flash across Chu Yao's face. The disparity was too great. Chu Yao was level 21, but Hua Wan was already level 33. Chapter 25. Princess Shi, what do you think of the young city lord's cultivation? Chu Chu took a sip of tea and asked with a smile. Tang Xiaoxi lay on the table in boredom and looked at the arena in the distance. The strength of his martial soul isn't bad. It's not bad for a mere 6th grade Thunderhammer to cultivate to this level. It's just that his attacks are too cruel. Off to the side, Hua Tian's facial muscles twitched. Tang Xiaoxi didn't care about the city lord's feelings at all. Hua Tian was the same as his son, a 6th grade Thunderhammer. Tang Xiaoxi's words were an insult to the Thunderhammer, but Tang Xiaoxi had a 2nd grade Fire Fox martial soul. This left Hua Tian speechless. Moreover, her identity was too illustrious. He couldn't afford to offend her. Duke of Tsanglan's Qihai City was one of the 7 great cities of the empire. It had a population of nearly 1 million, far greater than a small city like Silver Fir City. Tanglan also controlled dozens of cities outside of Qihai City. Whether it was power or status, he was far above Hua Tian. After defeating 12 opponents in a row, the complacency on Hua Wan's face grew thicker. Suddenly, he turned around and walked to the edge of the martial stage. He pointed at Lin Muyu and said, "Lin Muyu, you lowly commoner. After cultivating for 3 days, it's time for you to challenge me, right?" Lin Muyu clenched her teeth. "Fine." But at this moment, Chu Yao suddenly pressed down on Lin Muyu's shoulder. You're not his match. Let Sister Chu Yao go up first." "Wait." Before Lin Muyu could finish speaking, Chu Yao suddenly leaped onto the arena. She held 2 daggers in her hands and looked at Hua Wan with hostility. "Come." Hua Wan couldn't help but laugh loudly. His lustful eyes swept over Chu Yao's chest and bottom. "I was wondering who it was. So it's Chu Yao. What? You can't wait to become my 7th concubine?" Shameless! Chu Yao shouted and activated her purple marten martial spirit. Adding it to her 2 daggers, she suddenly rushed forward. Her daggers quickly waved 3 times. Hua Wan's calmness far surpassed Chu Yao's imagination. Her thin sword was like a willow branch in the spring wind, completely dispersing the 3 attacks. With an explosive roar, the thunder hammer martial spirit appeared on her blade. Bang! Sparks flew. Chu Yao raised her daggers in front of her chest to block her opponent's attack, but she was forced back several steps. The disparity in strength was too great. The lightning hammer's ferocious energy wreaked havoc on her body. In the end, she couldn't hold on any longer and spat out a mouthful of blood. Little beauty, I really can't bear to hurt you. Hurry up and go down, you're not my match. Let that useless Lin Muyu come up, I want to teach him a good lesson. Hua Wan was still thinking about the time when Lin Muyu used the vines of the iron pear flower to slap his face. Chu Yao was indignant. She slowly straightened her body and continued to strengthen her daggers with her purple marten martial soul. Her eyes were filled with hatred. Sister Chu Yao, come down. Lin Muyu ordered loudly. Chu Feng also shouted, Yao, come down quickly. You're no match for him. However, Chu Yao was a very stubborn and competitive woman. Enduring the sharp pain, she suddenly slid forward and attacked her opponent again. As the dagger swept past with a hua sound, her martial spirit actually exerted all its strength in an instant. The purple marten chirped as it pounced towards Hua Wan's arm. With a piu-chi sound, it bit the arm, causing blood to spurt out. Hua Wan was in so much pain that her face was starting to contort. She roared, I gave you face, but you don't want it. As he spoke, he raised his left arm, and the vast thunder hammer martial spirit, which was filled with power, heavily fell on Chu Yao's chest. Bang! The purple marten's radiance scattered, and Chu Yao was seriously injured and fell back several meters. Hua Wan shouted in a low voice. Almost all the power in his body was concentrated on the long sword. The blade made a wung sound, and his true energy was vast and mighty. As long as this attack landed, a big hole would inevitably appear in Chu Yao's chest. So, just as Chu Yao was about to close her eyes, a figure suddenly flashed in front of her. It was a familiar figure and a familiar voice. Hua Wan, if you have any problems, come at me. Lin Muyu opened her palm, and the power of her martial spirit whistled out. The wall of the gourd appeared in front of her chest, and she quickly added the power of the mysterious tortoise shell. How could Hua Wan care so much? The blade was filled with power, and he fiercely stabbed down. Bang! A loud sound rang out, and the battle arena was stirred up into the air. Lin Muyu took 3 steps back, and lightly bumped into Chu Yao's chest. However, Hua Wan was even worse off. His arm was numb from the impact, and he looked at the sharp sword in his hand in disbelief. How is this possible? He could not believe that his attack with all his strength was blocked by Lin Muyu. Could it be some kind of sorcery? Chu Yao looked at Lin Muyu's back in shock. At this moment, she only felt that the figure of the man in front of her was constantly growing, and he could completely protect her. Lin Muyu turned around and smiled. Sister Chu Yao, quickly get off the stage. You have already lost. The next battle belongs to me and Hua Wan. She was an obedient girl, and she quickly slid down the stage. Chu Feng quickly checked her injuries. On the stage, there were only 2 men left. Hua Wan was dressed in luxurious clothes, and it formed a strong contrast with Lin Muyu's light green clothes. The violence and hatred on his face also formed a great contrast with Lin Muyu's calmness and calmness. You lowly commoner! Hua Wan's hatred had already flowed from his words. He quickly infused the long sword in his hand with his true energy, and his left hand raised 3 fingers. He growled, 3 moves? I only need 3 moves to make you kneel on the ground and call me grandpa. What if I don't lose in 3 moves? Lin Muyu said. Then I'll call you grandpa. Hua Wan angrily rebuked. No, why would I want a grandson like you? Lin Muyu's words caused the surrounding commoners to roar with laughter. Most of the spectators were born as commoners, But they did not dare to speak up against people like Hua Wan. No one was like Lin Muyu, openly provoking the nobles. Then what do you want? If you can't kill me in 3 moves, you give me 300 Jin coins. How about that? Lin Muyu said with a smile. 300 Jin coins? Hua Wan frowned. Although he was the city lord, 300 Jin coins was not a small sum. However, since he'd already made his offer, he had no choice but to accept it. Thus, he braced himself and said, "Fine, if I lose, I'll give you 300 Jin coins. If I win, I'll take your worthless life." Lin Muyu clapped her hands. Deal. Hua Wan was truly enraged by now. He had summoned his thunder hammer to its fullest extent, and bolts of lightning crackled across his sword. He cultivated a battle technique based on the laws of thunder, a technique he had inherited from his father. It was called the thunder art, and when used in tandem with his thunder hammer, he was able to bring out his absolute strength to the limit. This was also the reason why the Hua family was able to stand tall in Silver Fir City for so long. Attract lightning. With a shout, Hua Wan's figure flashed forward, his blade trailing a streak of lightning. Lin Muyu could see it clearly. Hua Wan was stronger than her, but not by much. She wouldn't be at a disadvantage if she fought him head-on, but it wasn't a smart move. Suddenly, Lin Muyu used falling star steps to flash to the other side, causing Hua Wan's sword to miss. Lin Muyu moved swiftly and attacked from the side. Her steel sword glowed with the same lightning, but it was faster and more effective. A silent lightning strike landed directly on Hua Wan's right leg. Blood instantly gushed out, and Hua Wan's protective aura collapsed. A wound about 10 centimeters long appeared on his leg. "Bastard!" He cursed angrily, his strength exploding as he shouted, "Thunder dance!" Bolts of lightning spread in all directions. Hua Wan was going all out. He already knew his weakness. He had been too focused on his strength, so he had neglected his speed. Lin Muyu's strange footwork was his nemesis. He had thought that he would definitely win, but Lin Muyu had easily dodged his attack. If this continued, his next attack would also be dodged. Thunder Dance was a battle skill that allowed one to use the power of lightning to form a net attack. It was also a skill that he was proud of for 6 years. In this world, there were only 3 people who could perfectly use Thunder Dance, and he was one of them. Bolts of lightning wreaked havoc around Hua Wan's body. The sword in his hand trembled slightly, almost bursting with power. He suddenly leaped up, raised his sword with the force of a mountain, and slashed at Lin Muyu's head. This time, with the area of effect of Thunder Dance, Lin Muyu wouldn't be able to dodge it even if she wanted to. But Lin Muyu didn't plan on dodging. She might be able to dodge it now, but she wouldn't be able to dodge it forever. Holding the sword in front of his chest, he quickly summoned his martial spirit. The green gourd emerged from his body, transforming into a giant gourd that protected him from Thunder Dance. At the same time, he gritted his teeth and shouted, "Black tortoise shell." Bolts of flames flew into the air, condensing into a fiery red black tortoise shell that appeared on the walls of the gourd. The black tortoise shell was made of pure fire energy and was a non-conductive material. Naturally, it could perfectly defend against his opponent's attack. Hua Wan's heart trembled when he saw the fiery red-black tortoise shell again, but he still slashed down with his sword. He hated this kid for making a fool of himself in front of so many citizens of Cathaya City. He hated Lin Muyu for making a fool of him in front of his father. Given his father's strictness, if he lost, his days in the future wouldn't be easy. Hua Wan's Thunder Dance completely shattered against the walls of the gourd. The fact that it hadn't been able to break through the defense of the black tortoise shell showed just how tough it was. Just when the Thunder Dance was about to run out of energy, Lin Muyu abruptly rushed forward and rammed her elbow into Hua Wan's chin. At the same time, she raised her right leg and slammed it into his lower abdomen. The young city lord was sent flying like a kite with its string cut, but this wasn't enough to defeat him. Lin Muyu didn't want to waste any more time with him, and with a shout, she landed on the ground as if she were standing on a stake. Her left fist swung out in an arc, whistling through the air as she punched out with about 50% of her strength. Demon Sound Fist. Bang! A muffled sound rang through the air as Hua Wan fell limply to the ground. He didn't even make a sound. He'd actually been knocked unconscious. Every dragon had a reverse scale, and those who touched it would be enraged. This was the result of injuring Chu Yao. Chapter 26. Young Castellan Hua Wan was defeated within 3 moves. There was a dead silence. City Governor Hua Tian stood up, clenching his fists and staring at his beloved son, who had fainted in the arena. He really won. Tang Xiaoxi also stood up and said with a smile, "Chu Chu, your teachings can really change a person." Chu Chu didn't respond. He knew that the boy's rapid progress had something to do with himself, so he said, "That's because he practiced hard." After a full 2 minutes, cheers finally broke out around the ring. Everyone knew that Lin Muyu was a commoner. A commoner without a mentor was able to defeat the young city lord, Hua Wan. Everyone could not believe the scene before their eyes, but when they thought of the arrogant young city lord, this group of people felt happy from the bottom of their hearts. City Governor Hua Tian, "It's time to announce it." Chu Chu said. It seemed that if he didn't say it, Hua Tian wouldn't give the special pardon to Lin Muyu. "No hurry. Let's wait and see if there are any challengers." But after waiting for another hour, no one was willing to challenge Lin Muyu. Tang Xiaoxi also urged, "City Governor Hua, hurry up and announce it. I have to hurry back to Lanyan City." "Yes, Your Highness." Hua Tian was straightforward. He leaped down from the audience stand, took out the special pardon token from Hua Wan's waist, and respectfully walked onto the stage with the special pardon token in his hands. He said in a clear voice, "Lin Muyu, the special pardon token is a sacred object issued by the Department of Spiritual Medicine of our empire. It's the most precious treasure in the field of medicine refinement. I hope you can carry forward the spirit of us alchemists who practice medicine for the sake of others, and don't waste this special pardon token." "Thank you, City Governor." Lin Muyu took the pardon and thanked him. Hua Tian's eyes were full of admiration. He patted Lin Muyu's shoulder and said with a smile, "You have such extraordinary cultivation at such a young age. You are really not simple. I hope you will continue to work hard and become a great medicine king or even medicine god. You will make the whole Silver Fir City and even the whole empire proud of you." "Thank you." After exchanging some pleasantries, Hua Tian ordered the guards to take the unconscious Hua Wan away and wake him up with the fragrance of the peace god flower. When Lin Muyu walked off the stage, Chu Feng, Chu Yao, Luo Kai, and the rest of the people from the 100 Spirits medicine shop congratulated her. Especially Chu Yao, she was even happier than if she had won the special pardon. When Lin Muyu looked up, he found that Chu Chu and Tang Xiaoxi had already disappeared from the spectators' stand. After dealing with the crowd's congratulations, he walked out of the city governor's mansion and didn't see Tang Xiaoxi. He asked the guard beside him, "Where are Princess Shi and Chu Chu?" "They've already left." The guard said with a smile, "Congratulations, kid. You actually defeated the young city governor. You're really young and promising." "They've already left." Lin Muyu felt a bit lonely. He looked at the empty street. Tang Xiaoxi seemed to be intentionally avoiding him. She didn't even want to see him one last time. Just when he was feeling lost, the sound of hooves suddenly came from the distance. A guard with the purple Yinghua Empire's emblem on his chest dismounted. He held a white handkerchief in his hand and said, "Lin Muyu." "Yes, you are? I'm Princess Shi's guard. Have you forgotten about me?" He respectfully held the handkerchief with both hands and said, "Princess Shi left in a hurry and ordered me to give this to you." "This is?" When he opened the handkerchief, he saw a fiery red iron token with a simple Tang character carved on it. The Tang sect's iron token. The guard was slightly surprised and said, "I didn't expect the princess to give you the Tang sect's iron token that she always carries with her. There are only 3 of them in the whole world." Lin Muyu held the heavy token and felt a little sad. Tang Xiaoxi must have put in a lot of effort to give this token to him. Did she leave any words behind?" "Yes." The guard said in a low voice. "She said that if you encounter any difficulties one day, you can hold the Tang sect's iron token and look for her in Lanyan City. If she's not in the imperial capital, she must be in Qihai City. You can find her there." Many thanks. Lin Mu bowed. The guard performed an imperial military salute, bowing with his left hand clenched into a fist and his right palm across his chest. He was a soldier. Luo Kai's voice came from behind at this time. Why are you out here? The city lord is looking for you. He said that there will be a banquet tonight at the city lord's manor, inviting all the elites of the city's pill refinement world. You and Yao are both invited. I'll be right there. Lin Muyu tucked the Tang sect iron medallion into her bosom. This simple and unadorned iron medallion actually emitted a faint warmth, as if it still carried Tang Xiaoxi's body warmth. Lin Muyu's imagination ran wild. Could it be the bodyguard's body warmth? Her mind was in a mess. Outside the city, Tang Xiaoxi looked back at Cathaya City. Chu Chu didn't expose her, saying, "Princess, if it's possible, forget about him." Tang Xiaoxi blushed. Why would Chu say such a thing? There's a demon sleeping in that brat's body. Tang Xiaoxi suddenly stood there, not knowing what to say in response. The city lord's manor was still brightly lit after sunset. There were about 40 people attending the banquet. Lin Muyu, Chu Yao, and Chu Feng were among them. Wang Ying, Luo Kai, and the others were not invited. During the banquet, Hua Wan's arm was bandaged in 2 places. From time to time, he would shoot a burning gaze at Lin Muyu as if he wanted to kill her. City Lord Hua Tian, on the other hand, was much more magnanimous. After a toast, he said, "Let me tell everyone a piece of good news." "What news, City Lord?" the crowd asked. Hua Tian cleared his throat and said, "Just 2 hours ago, I received a letter from the Imperial Capital's Spirit Medicine Division. This year, we will be selecting a highly respected medicine refiner from Cathaya City to join the Spirit Medicine Division and assume the position of an elder." Heavens! An old alchemist exclaimed in shock. Join the Spirit Medicine Department? This is a great honor. I wonder which alchemist master would have such an honor? Hua Tian said, "Everyone can recommend yourselves. Sages can join the Spirit Medicine Department. There is only one requirement, and that is that they must be at least a Grandmaster Alchemist and be able to refine rank 6 medicines." The old alchemist nodded. "I see. Unfortunately, this old man is too old. I'm afraid I won't be able to go that far." Hua Tian smiled. "Old Mr. Wang, do you have a candidate to recommend?" The old alchemist couldn't help but smile, saying, "This old man recommends Elder Chu of the 100 Spirits Medicine Shop. Elder Chu has spent his entire life studying alchemy, and he recently refined rank 6 medicines. He is a late bloomer, and his disciple, Lin Muyu, has even surpassed him and obtained a special pardon. Therefore, Elder Chu is the most suitable elder for the Spirit Medicine Department. What do you think, City Lord?" Hua Tian thought for a moment. "What do you think, Elder Chu?" Chu Feng was stunned, saying, "My granddaughter, Chu Yao, and a group of disciples are all in Silver Fir City. This old man naturally wants to go to the Spirit Medicine Department, but I can't let go of these disciples in Silver Fir City." Hua Tian laughed. "Elder Chu, you worry too much. Lin Muyu and Chu Yao are the cream of the crop of the new generation in Silver Fir City. I've already decided to send them to the Spirit Medicine Department to further their studies. All of their food and lodging will be provided by the treasury of Silver Fir City. You don't need to worry too much, Elder Chu. As long as I, Hua Tian, am in Silver Fir City, I won't let anything happen to them." Chu Feng had spent his entire life studying alchemy, and now he had the opportunity to enter the Spirit Medicine Department, the holy temple of the alchemy world. How could he not be happy? He couldn't decide what to do for a moment. "Grandpa, don't worry. I can take good care of you," Chu Yao said with a smile. Lin Muyu also smiled. "Grandpa, don't worry. I'll take good care of Sister Chu Yao. You can go to the Spirit Medicine Department without worry. That's where you belong." Finally, Chu Feng made his decision. He cupped his fists and said, "Thank you, City Lord, for your guidance." Hua Tian nodded. Go back and pack your things tonight. I'll invite General Ning from Silver Fir City's garrison to escort you to the Imperial Capital. I'll make sure you're safe on the way." Chu Feng, "Thank you, my lord." That night, Chu Yao helped her grandfather pack his luggage. While doing so, she muttered, "Grandpa's old pipe, oh, I can't bring it for him. He's so old he shouldn't smoke anymore. His cough hasn't gotten better." Grandpa's pulse opening diagram. Also, Grandpa's knee pads. He broke his leg while climbing the mountain, and it hurts when it rains. He needs this and… Lin Muyu also helped with the packing. After a long while, Chu Feng finally appeared. He came out of the bedroom with a heavy iron cabinet in his arms. He called softly, "Yao, you come here." The two juniors sat opposite him with solemn expressions. Chu Feng couldn't help but smile. "Grandpa will be leaving for the imperial capital tomorrow. I don't know when I'll be back. This 100 Spirits Medicine Hall is the blood, sweat, and tears of several generations of the Chu family. From now on, I'll hand it over to you too. This is the money the medicine hall has accumulated over the years. It's not a lot, just 30 or so gold coins. You'll have to be frugal." Chu Feng said, "Originally, I was planning to use this money to buy Yao's dowry. But now, this old man has to go to Lanyan City alone." Chu Yao's heart ached. She rolled her eyes. "Grandpa, don't say any more. Yao doesn't want to get married. What nonsense are you talking about?" Chu Feng said with a smile, "How can you not get married? Your parents are watching from the heavens. Ever since there's been no news of your brother, our Chu family has been relying on you alone." Chu Yao's face turned red. "Grandpa, don't say any more." Lin Muyu laughed inwardly and pretended not to hear anything. Late at night, Chu Feng's grandpa had gone to bed early. Lin Muyu and Chu Yao were picking medicinal herbs in the yard. Grandpa is about to go to the Spirit Medicine Hall. What should we do in the future? Do you have any plans?" Chu Yao suddenly asked. "Sister Chu Yao, do you want to enter the Spirit Medicine Hall in Kathaya City to cultivate? As far as I know, the Spirit Medicine Hall is located in the City Lord's Manor. Even the guards there are from the City Lord's Manor." A sharp light shot out of Lin Muyu's eyes. Although the City Lord looks like a good person, his son Hua Wan won't let this matter rest. Chapter 27. I still want to enter Kathaya City's Spirit Herb Division. Chu Yao bit her red lips, and her gaze was very firm. If I don't go to the Spiritual Medicine Division, then the 100 Spirits Medicine Store's business will still be steady. Moreover, Grandpa has already gone to the Imperial Capital's Spiritual Medicine Division. I don't want to disappoint Grandpa. All right then, I will protect you. Yes. The next morning, they arrived at the Spirit Medicine Department. The person in charge of receiving them was a man in his 50s. He was dressed in a black robe, and he held a bottle of medicine in his hand. With a smile, he said, "Lin Mu, Chu Yao, you're finally here. My name is Lu Bin, and I'm responsible for leading you into the Spiritual Medicine Department." Lin Muyu's name had spread far and wide in Silver Fir City. She and Chu Yao had both received an invitation from the Spirit Medicine Division. This was a rare honor for the younger generation of alchemists. Lu Bin glanced at Chu Yao as he led the way. It's been many years since such a young alchemist has entered the Spirit Medicine Division. What a rare sight. The Spirit Medicine Division's workshops are divided into the Herb Gathering Workshop, the Herb Selection Workshop, and the Medicine Refinery Workshop. You two have been assigned to work in the Medicine Refinery Workshop. You'll be in charge of refining and smelting medicine. Your workload isn't too great. You only need to refine 40 bottles of medicine above level 3 every day. Chu Yao nodded and smiled. Got it. Thank you, Uncle Lu. There's no need to thank me. I'll show you the rooms and the workshop. Alright. Entering the alchemy workshop, there were already more than 30 alchemists working there. From the Grandmaster Alchemist to the Master Alchemist, their main products were gold sore medicine, healing medicine, stone skin medicine, and other medicines used in battle. When Lin Muyu and Chu Yao, the two young juniors, entered the workshop, they caused a wave of hissing sounds. These alchemists focused on alchemy and did not pay attention to what was happening outside. They did not even know who Lin Muyu was. Lin Muyu. An alchemist pointed at the workbench on the side and said, "You're an alchemist, right? I have some earth dragon grass and blood ginseng here. Can you help me refine them? I want to refine some level 4 healing potions. Lin Muyu smiled gently. There's no need for that. I want to finish today's work after I refine 40 bottles of stone skin potion. What? Stone skin elixir? Apothecary frowned. You have the ability to refine the black ironwood's medicinal essence? Lin Muyu didn't say anything else. She just walked over and picked up a black iron tree that was about a meter tall. Then she opened her hand, and pure true qi surged. The essence-condensing hand quickly peeled off the outer shell of the black iron tree. Not long after, tiny grains of the black iron tree's medicinal essence slowly rose up and fell into the medicine tray under his guidance. The entire process didn't even take 10 minutes. Lin Muyu herself was slightly surprised. Presumably, it was because of the increase in her cultivation that the efficiency of the essence-condensing hand had also greatly increased. Meanwhile, the surrounding group of alchemists were all stunned. No one could have imagined that such a young boy could actually refine the black iron tree's medicinal essence. Not long after, 40 bottles of stone skin potion were freshly made. Elder Lu. The previous apothecary pointed at Lin Muyu with a face full of indignation. This boy named Lin Muyu spent less than an hour to refine 40 bottles of stone skin potion. He's obviously cutting corners. I suspect that his potion isn't even grade 7. This will ruin the reputation of our spirit medicine department. These low-grade potions are simply harmful to the military. Lu Bin had always known that the alchemists in the medicine refinery were always fighting openly and covertly. At the same time, he also knew of Lin Muyu's abilities. He raised his eyebrows. Is that so? Apothecary Wang, go and test the grade of these stone skin potions. What do you think? Apothecary Wang probed a bottle of stone skin potion with his identification stick. In the next moment, his jaw dropped. How can this be a grade 1 medicine? Lu Bin snorted coldly. As the saying goes, the younger generation will surpass the older. Apothecary Wang, you should learn more from Lin Muyu. Yes, Elder Lu. After Lin Muyu finished her work, she went to Chu Yao's workbench. She saw Chu Yao working hard at refining level 4 healing potions. It was obvious that Chu Yao had also benefited a lot from the God of Medicine's Bible. She was much more adept at refining the potions. The formula was also very scientific. In about an hour, she had refined 47 bottles of healing potions. After the appraiser's verification, they were all between grade 6 and grade 3. This slightly surprised Lin Muyu. It seemed that she had underestimated Sister Chu Yao. The two's residence was very close to the mayor's palace. 10 minutes later, they stopped in front of a house. We're here, Lu Bin said. Chu Yao was stunned. She stuck out her tongue and asked with a smile, did we come to the wrong place? We're just small alchemists. This is the residence of the mayor's palace, right? Lu Bin smiled faintly. City Lord Huatian is not only the mayor, but also the Grand Elder of Silver Fir City's Spirit Medicine Department. Lin Muyu is widely recognized as a rare talent in the alchemy world. That's why I've arranged such a special residence for you. Please don't be shy. Otherwise, you'll disappoint the mayor. Chu Yao wanted to say more, but Lin Muyu knew that it was useless to say more. She said, Sister Chu Yao, since you're already here, let's take things as they come. It's not a bad place to live. Then, when night fell, the servants delivered a sumptuous meal. After eating, Chu Yao went back to her room to practice the art of silver needles. Her room was separated from Lin Muyu's by the courtyard. It was not far, but not close either. Lin Muyu, on the other hand, stood in the courtyard and circulated her true qi again and again to use Thunderstrike and Demon Sound Fist. At the same time, she continued to cultivate and strengthen her gourd. When the night grew darker, she took out 4 flying knives and practiced hidden weapons. He knew that he wasn't strong enough. When facing a stronger opponent, he had to use extreme methods, and hidden weapons were one of them. Undercurrents were surging in the city lord's palace. Who knew how many more dangers were waiting for him? Swoosh! The flying knife suddenly flew out, making a fierce sound in the air. Then, sparks flew everywhere. It hit the rock of the artificial mountain and went deep, but it didn't fly back. Lin Muyu frowned. The flying knife's biggest weakness wasn't its trajectory, but once it hit the target, it might not come back after the impact. What method could she use to freely control the flying knife? After thinking for a long time, she suddenly had an idea. The flying knife's trajectory depended on the force and air fluctuations. Wasn't her demon sound fist a method that could change the flow of air? Perhaps, the demon sound fist could be combined with hidden weapons. Thinking of this, she immediately began to practice. The first flying knife flew out, and the wind from the fist trembled. The power of the demon sound fist burst out in the air, but it didn't seem to have an obvious effect. The flying knife was struck down because the angle and strength were not enough. After repeated attempts and hundreds of demon sonorous fist strikes, a pung sound rang out in the air, and the flying dagger's trajectory changed. It flew in the opposite direction at the same speed and pierced into the stone wall. This small success made Lin Muyu extremely happy. The feasibility of using demon sonorous fist with hidden weapons and flying daggers had been proven. Standing proudly in the cold courtyard, Lin Muyu's figure looked even more handsome. He closed his eyes, and his whole body entered a state of clarity. He sensed the flying knife's trajectory and only relied on his ears to determine the position. Suddenly he punched out. The demon sound fist vibrated, and the flying knife changed direction and flew faster. Then he punched out again, and the flying knife's trajectory was changed again. He seemed to have figured out the relationship between the flying knife's trajectory and the demon sound fist's force, angle, and timing. Just as he was immersed in cultivation, he suddenly heard a soft clapping in the distance. A woman's voice came from the courtyard door, "Good martial arts." As expected of the person who defeated the young city lord in 3 moves. Lin Muyu raised her eyebrows and saw a woman dressed in red standing there. Her clothes were very simple, as thin as muslin, accentuating her exquisite and curvaceous figure. Furthermore, as she leaned lightly against the door, she looked even more enchanting and enchanting. "You are." "My name is Xianxia." She walked forward with a smile. Her steps were as nimble as a cat's. Her beautiful eyes stared straight at Lin Muyu as she smiled and said, "I am the maidservant of the Castellan manor. I was ordered by the young Castellan to serve you." Lin Muyu frowned and felt a bit of disgust. "Go back and tell Hua1 that I don't need her." "Is that so?" Xiangxiang's pair of beautiful eyes seemed to be able to read people's minds. She said, "The night is long and it is hard to sleep alone. Does young master really not need a woman to sleep beside your pillow?" "Oh, it must be that woman called Chu Yao, right? Unfortunately, she is young master's senior sister. She probably can't serve beside your bed, right?" As she said this, Xiangxiang walked to the door and pushed it open. She said, "No matter what happens to young master, I must sleep on your bed tonight." She looked back and her face was slightly dark. "Otherwise, I can't imagine the consequences." What did this mean? Lin Muyu was stunned. Was this the legendary forcing yourself on the bow? Wasn't this the opposite? At least she should be the one taking the initiative, right? But in fact, this Xiangxiang, whether it was her figure or her looks, were top-notch. Young City Master Hua1 was indeed an expert in choosing women. This point must be admitted. Xiangxiang leaned on the door and smiled sweetly. "Young master, what is the name of your flying dagger?" "It doesn't have a name, it's just a hidden weapon." "Oh, then what is the name of your skill that can explode through the air?" "Demon Sound Fist." He. Xiangxiang pursed her lips and smiled. "Although I don't know much about martial arts, I can see that you are using the Demon Sound Fist to change the trajectory of the flying dagger. This way, you can kill people without leaving a trace, right?" Lin Muyu smiled. "Xiangxiang, you were sent by Hua1 to spy on me, right? Even if you understand my martial arts, it's useless. I can still easily defeat Hua1." Xiangxiang lightly raised one of her slender snow-white legs and stroked her knee as she said with a smile, "Young master is thinking too much. Xiangxiang is only here to serve young master in bed. As for cultivating, I'm not interested." She lightly nodded and said, If I practiced martial arts, I wouldn't be in this situation. Young master, don't you think so? Of course, Lin Muyu didn't believe her words. He coldly snorted and continued to practice the flying dagger and demon sound fist. Xianxia watched for a while and suddenly yawned. She smiled. Young master, it's late. Xianxia is going to bed. This servant will wait for you on the bed. I won't wear any clothes. If you're tired, come rest. I'll take good care of you. Lin Muyu didn't respond. Xianxia was indeed a beauty, but this was the best way to train his mind. Xianxia cutely yawned again and waved her hand. Young master, this servant is going to sleep. Remember to wake me up when you arrive. Also, since your flying dagger doesn't have a name, why don't I give it a name? The flying dagger controlled by the demon sound fist should be called Demon Sound Blade. Demon Sound Blade? Lin Muyu was slightly startled. What a good name. When he looked again, Xianxia had already gracefully walked to the bed. Chapter 28. Deep into the night, Lin Muyu created the first hidden weapon technique for the magic sonar saber. It was actually very simple. He used the wind and thunder fist force to control the direction of the magic sonar saber. The 4 flying daggers combined to form a spiral of 4 sharp blades. Only a low whistling sound could be heard as they flew in the air. Lin Muyu was indeed an extremely intelligent person. He could already completely control the direction of the magic sonar saber with the magic sonar fist. The only thing he lacked was actual combat. After all, the magic sonar saber was a killing technique. Phew, Tang Wulin took a deep breath. Using the demonic sonorous fist non-stop had drained most of the true qi in his body, and his green gourd was like a spring absorbing the surrounding spiritual energy of heaven and earth to replenish his true qi. This was probably what Chu Chu and the others meant when they said that those without a martial soul weren't suited for cultivation. If they didn't even have a martial soul, then their recovery speed would be far inferior to others. Tang Wulin's martial soul, the green gourd, was already a grade 10 martial soul, yet it was able to recover so quickly. What about Tang Xiaoxi's firefox? Wouldn't it be able to recover 100% of its strength in an hour or two? But now, Lin Muyu had a headache about the woman in the room. Xianxia was indeed a feast for the eyes, but she was sent by Hua Wan or Hua Tian to serve him. This kind of treatment was like that of a distinguished guest in the castellan's mansion. But he couldn't stand it. With Xianxia here, all his actions could be seen through by Hua Wan. This was not the result he wanted. He braced himself and entered the room. He divided the demon noise blade into 4 flying knives and put them into the knife bag. He stretched his arms and looked at the bed. Xianxia was lying on her side. Her body was only covered by a thin layer of gauze. The moonlight shone on her body, making her look exceptionally beautiful. Forget it, I'll sleep on the bench, he sighed inwardly and walked to a short and narrow bench. Young master. Xianxia actually didn't fall asleep. She raised her head to look at him and said, I remember Xianxia and young master said that if young master didn't touch me today, Xianxia would definitely suffer a beating. Beating would be a light punishment. Perhaps I would even suffer humiliation from the servants. Humiliated by the servants? Xianxia is just a maid. A smile of success flashed across her face. Xianxia smiled and said, Master has many kinds of punishments for the maids. One is to beat them, and another is to let the maids be enjoyed by the servants. Those servants can wantonly play with the maids' bodies. Does young master want Xianxia to fall to that point? Lin Muyu naturally didn't believe him. She couldn't help but snicker. Then what do you want me to do? Let Xianxia serve you in bed. This is my only mission. No need, I'm used to sleeping alone. Lin Muyu knew that this Xianxia was a beautiful rose. Once she touched her, she would definitely be pricked by the thorns of the rose. Moreover, this was the city lord's mansion, not a place of romance. Chu Yao was less than 50 meters away from her. She shouldn't even think about this kind of thing. However, the more he didn't want to think about it, the worse the situation became. Xianxia suddenly stood up, Her dress had already been taken off, only a thin layer of muslin was draped over her. Her slim figure walked over, her pair of jade peaks trembling slightly in front of her chest, her slender snow-white legs stepped on the carpet step by step. She sat down beside Lin Muyu, her body leaning against his. Immediately, a delicate fragrance wafted into Lin Muyu's nose, causing him to feel a little suffocated. How could a young and vigorous 20-year-old like him resist this kind of temptation? Young master. Xianxia's voice carried a hint of bitterness as she said, Xianxia knows that the only woman in your heart is your senior sister, Chu Yao. Xianxia doesn't ask young master to do anything for me. I only ask young master to give me physical pleasure. Is this not possible? If you don't say it and I don't say it, then everything will be fine. Xianxia also knows that young master dislikes my body, but Xianxia had no choice. I was sold into the city lord's mansion at the age of 16 and my first time was taken by the young city lord that night. My life doesn't belong to me, so I have no other choice but to meekly accept it. Lin Muyu turned around and left. He stood under the moonlight and looked at her. This woman was indeed as beautiful as water and bright as the moon. He lightly said, no one's life doesn't belong to them. You are the same. Xianxia originally wanted to hug him, but in the end, her hands grabbed nothing but air. Her arms were raised there, she could not help but laugh coldly and said, Lin Muyu, you look down on me, don't you? No, I don't. Then why are you humiliating me like this? Her face was flushed with anger, and she said, that's right, I, Xianxia, am a slut who can be used by anyone. Everything I do is to survive, but what about you? You humiliate me like this. Do you really want me to become a plaything for those servants to vent their lust on? I don't. Lin Muyu faintly looked at her and said word by word, I don't care what your goal is, but you have suffered enough humiliation. Hua Wan can wantonly occupy your body and humiliate you, but I can't. If I submit to you now, then what difference would there be between me and Hua Wan? Do not do to others what you do not want to be done to yourself. This is the reason why I rejected you. Moreover, Xianxia, are you willing to live like this? You must understand that dignity is worth fighting for with one's life. Xianxia raised her long snow-white neck and faintly looked at Lin Muyu. She was speechless. After a long while, she repeatedly murmured, do not do to others what you do not want to be done to yourself. Do not do to others what you do not want to be done to yourself. Approximately 2 minutes later, Xianxia smiled and stood up to gently bow to Lin Muyu. She said, young master, you can sleep on the bed. How about Xianxia sleep on this bench? If someone asks tomorrow, please put in a good word for Xianxia. Just say that I successfully slept with young master last night. Is that okay? Lin Muyu nodded and smiled. It's nothing, but I'll sleep on the bench. My body is quite hard and can't sleep on a soft bed. Thank you, young master. Xianxia felt a little warm and returned to the bed. However, her heart was like a stormy sea. No matter what, she couldn't fall asleep. Turning around, she found that Lin Muyu had already fallen asleep on the bench. Her breathing was even. Although she was sleeping, there was a faint aura lingering beside her. What kind of man was this? Xianxia asked again and again in her heart, but there was no answer. After the age of 16, all kinds of humiliation had made her heart as hard as stone. However, this man's words seemed to be able to soften the depths of her heart. Do not do to others what you do not want to be done to yourself. What kind of person would say such deep and open-minded words? The next morning, after waking up early, Lin Muyu was still practicing the demonic noise fist and the lightning strike in the courtyard. He had a steel sword in his hand, but his swordsmanship was very poor. He only knew one swordsmanship, and that was the lightning strike. This was clearly not enough. The swordsmanship when fighting was simply too important. He had to learn one. Chu Yao walked out of the room and said with a smile, "You're already awake." "Yes." Lin Muyu returned the demonic noise blade to his waist and said with a smile, "Sister Chu Yao, how did you sleep last night?" "Pretty good." "And that's good." At this moment, Xianxia suddenly put on her clothes and walked out of Lin Muyu's room. She said with a smile, "Young master, why did you wake up so early?" Chu Yao was instantly petrified. She said in astonishment, Who are you? Xianxia stuck out her chest and said with an incomparably proud smile, The person who serves young master when he sleeps. Chu Yao bit her red lips and the light in her eyes turned into anger. Lin Muyu hurriedly said, Sister Chu Yao, don't misunderstand. I'm not that kind of person. I didn't even touch her. Xianxia, I promise to keep your secret. Don't harm me. Xianxia laughed. All right, young master. This servant will leave first. I'll come again tonight. Then goodbye, young master. Xianxia turned around and looked at Chu Yao. She said with a provocative smile, Young master's skills in bed are very good. You should find an opportunity to try it. Don't waste such a good man. It's over. Lin Muyu couldn't explain himself. After explaining for half an hour, he finally made Chu Yao believe that he had nothing to do with this woman. Not long after, a servant brought breakfast and a heavy bag of money. It was 300 Jining coins. This was the money that Hua Wan lost to Lin Muyu in the martial arts competition. He didn't expect this young city lord to be so trustworthy. They didn't plan to work in the medicine refining workshop in the morning because the daily work was too simple and easy to complete. Therefore, Lin Muyu carried the heavy bag of money and brought Chu Yao to the market. The market was bustling with people. Chu Yao was in a good mood. She was as happy as a young girl on a trip. She pulled Lin Muyu's hand and walked quickly. She said with a smile, What are we going to buy? Where is the place that sells martial arts techniques? Oh, the bookstore has them. However, they are all cheap goods. If you want to learn superior martial arts techniques, you must go to the auction house and choose some good ones. Then let's go to the auction house? There were a total of 4 auction houses in the city, and the one Chu Yao brought Lin Muyu to was the largest one. It was called the 100 Battle Trading Company. In fact, the items sold in this auction house were mostly related to cultivators, such as weapons, secret manuals, cultivation pills, cultivation medicines, etc. There was everything one could wish for. When Lin Muyu entered, he couldn't help but feel excited. To him, this was heaven. Over there. Chu Yao held his hand. That place sells martial arts techniques. Walking over to take a look, they saw a middle-aged man around 40 years old selling martial arts techniques. He had the face of a rat and one look was enough to tell that he wasn't a proper businessman. He said with a smile, 2 little friends, what do you need? Our shop has all kinds of martial arts techniques, including the 4 laws of wind, fire, thunder, and lightning. Also, the treasure of our shop is a remnant of a fist technique passed down by a sacred realm expert. Do you want to take a look? It's only 5,000 Jining coins. 5,000 Jining coins for a secret manual? Chu Yao's mouth fell open. You might as well rob a bank. The peddler chuckled. Miss, there's something you don't know. A profound martial skills secret manual can allow a cultivator to undergo a heaven-defying transformation. Otherwise, why would so many experts keep their treasures to themselves and not be willing to take out their family's secret manuals? Lin Muyu smiled and asked, Boss, do you have any secret manuals regarding swordsmanship? Yes. The peddler quickly took out 3 books and said, No haggling. 1 basic sword technique, 1 gold kin coin, 1 advanced sword technique, 500 gold kin coins, and the long-lost wind sword technique, 1,200 gold kin coins. Young hero, I can see that you are a talented person and have an extraordinary way of talking, so please don't haggle with me, or else you will be lowering your value. Chapter 29. Expensive. It was just too expensive. A family of 4 only needed 10 gold hub coins for a year, but this sword manual was actually priced at 1,200 gold hub coins. Indeed, in this world, it wasn't about whether you wanted to be strong or not. Sometimes, even if you wanted to be strong, you simply couldn't afford a proper manual. Then give me a basic sword technique. Lin Muyu took out a gold hun coin without hesitation. Other than the lightning slash, he had no other attainments in swordsmanship. It was not a bad idea to buy a basic swordsmanship skill book. The basic swordsmanship skill book reminded him of an ancient game called Legend of Mir 2. It seemed that the first skill a warrior learned was basic swordsmanship skill book, which could increase his accuracy. Now that he saw a real basic swordsmanship skill book in his hands, he was filled with emotions. Chu Yao naturally didn't understand what Lin Muyu was sighing about. The vendor was already holding a light green cover manual. He opened it to the first page and said, Wind Riding Sword Technique, a sword technique that uses the laws of the wind to control the initiative in battle. Young hero, do you really not want one? Lin Muyu only glanced at it. The incantation was sword like thunder, sword like lightning, and he almost couldn't control himself. But he didn't have enough money. What, you don't want it? The vendor grinned. Lin Muyu shook his head. I don't have enough money. Oh, so you're a pauper? Then goodbye. His face changed so quickly. Lin Muyu didn't mind and said with a smile, Sister Chu Yao, let's go take a look at the medicine store. I have 2 bottles of medicine to sell. The 100 Battles Auction House's medicine store was located on the east side. The two arrived a few minutes later. A clerk raised his head and asked with a smile, What do you two need? I want to sell 2 bottles of medicine. Oh. The clerk looked at the emblem on his chest in shock and said, Brat, you're from the Spirit Medicine Division, right? A person from the Spirit Medicine Division actually came to the auction house to sell medicine. Do you still have any dignity as a member of the Spirit Medicine Division? You guys collect the medicine and I sell it. It's only right and proper, Lin Muyu said lightly. Do you accept it or not? If you don't, I'll ask your immediate superior. Here, take out your medicine. Lin Muyu reached into the bag on her waist and took out 2 bottles of Dream of Extreme Peaks. She placed them on the counter and said, Let's appraise them. The shop assistant picked up the Peak of Dreams and sniffed it. He was stunned. What kind of medicine is this? Why can't I smell it? Dream of the Peak, Level 7 medicine. What? The shop assistant shuddered as if he had seen a ghost. How is that possible? Isn't Dream of the Zenith long lost? At this time, an old alchemist not far away asked, Little San, why are you so surprised? Master, come and take a look. When the old apothecary sniffed the Peak of Dreams, his expression immediately changed. The olfactory stimulation is really the Peak of Dreams. Heavens, how did this medicine appear on the continent again? As he said this, he looked at Lin Muyu. Young man, did you refine this medicine? Yes, I saw the recipe in a broken manual and concocted it. Wait. The old apothecary gave him a deep look and said, If it really is Peak of Dreams, then your reputation will rise. How about this? Follow me to the back hall. I'll go call the manager of the firm. But Chu Yao was a little nervous. Lin Muyu casually led her into the back hall of the auction house. He was very confident in Peak of Dreams. Once this medicine was sold, he would have a large amount of Jin coins to spend. A few minutes later, a man around 40 years old quickly entered the back hall. He wore a very exquisite merchant's attire. He had thick eyebrows and big eyes. With one look, one could tell that he was a very shrewd person. He looked at Lin Muyu and Chu Yao in surprise and said, Hello, 2 little friends. I am the boss of the 100 Battle firm, Lei Baizhen. These 2 bottles of Peak of Dreams were refined by you? What's your name? Lin Muyu. Oh! Lei Baizhen's eyes were about to shine. He smiled and said, So you're that Lin Muyu who defeated young city lord Hua Wan. Ha, what a coincidence. How did you obtain the recipe for Peak of Dreams? Lin Muyu casually made up a story. I found it in a spirit beast nest in the 7 Stars forest. After learning it, it was soaked in the rain on the way back. It's now a pile of fragments. So that's how it is. How shrewd was Lei Baizhen. He also knew that Lin Muyu wasn't willing to answer truthfully. He smiled and said, With our 100 Battle firm's wealth and popularity, we can completely raise the price of Peak of Dreams for you. At least 2,000 Jin coins per bottle. However, I have a condition. Young hero Lin needs to come to an agreement with us. If you refine Peak of Dreams again, you need to sell it in our 100 Battle firm. How about it? What's in it for me? Lin Muyu asked with a smile. Lei Baijian was also straightforward. He took out a pure white jade token from his chest and said, "This is the 100 Battle Firm's VIP token. With this token, you can buy anything in the 100 Battle Firm at a 30% discount. Moreover, you can use this token to overdraft from the treasury up to 2,000 Jinin coins. How about it?" I, Lei Baijian, don't want to say anything more. I've already shown my sincerity. Lin Muyu faintly smiled. Deal. Good. Lei Baijian was exceptionally happy. I will announce to the public today. Tomorrow morning at this time, we will publicly auction 2 bottles of Peak of Dreams. 80% of the proceeds will go to Young Hero and 20% to the previous one. How about it? Then you must also promise me one condition. Keep it a secret for me. Don't reveal to the public who these 2 bottles belong to. Business should be like this. Young Hero, don't worry. Leave it to me. Thank you. When he arrived downstairs, he used the VIP token to withdraw 1,000 Jinin coins. Afterwards, he went to buy the Imperial Wind Sword Art. At noon, he invited Chu Yao to a nearby restaurant to have a good meal. In the afternoon, he returned to the 100 Spirits medicine store to visit Zhao Exin, Luo Kai, and the others. After leaving behind 10 Jinin coins to maintain the medicine store's business, he returned to the Spirit Medicine Division to finish his work and returned to his residence early to cultivate. After practicing a few sets of demonic noise fist, Lin Muyu began to practice his sword arts. The basic sword arts were easy to learn. With his comprehension ability, it didn't even take an hour for him to memorize them. The basic sword arts actually taught the user how to attack, defend, dodge, and other simple routines. Afterwards, he began to practice the Imperial Wind Sword Art. The foundation of this sword art was to control the power of the wind attribute, transforming it into sword chi and storing it in the sword. If he was skilled enough, the power of this sword strike could split mountains and break rocks. When it was almost evening, Lin Muyu suddenly felt a surge of energy in his chest. He had to get it out. Lin Muyu clearly knew that he was about to break through. Unknowingly, he had risen from level 27 to level 29 in a few days of cultivation. He was about to step into the first tier of the Earth realm. If it was someone else, they would have been shocked to death. In fact, Lin Muyu also felt a little suspicious. Why was he advancing so quickly? According to Chu Chu, it was because there was a demon sleeping in his body. Since he wanted to advance, he needed a beast spirit of high quality. It was a little unrealistic to go out of the city to find it, but Lin Muyu's bag contained a spirit stone of a 3,000-year-old bloodthirsty tiger. Refining the spirit stone was equivalent to refining the beast spirit, which saved him a lot of trouble. Thus, he told Chu Yao about it and closed his door to cultivate. Taking out the spirit stone and placing it beside the bed, Lin Muyu sat cross-legged on the bed and silently circulated his qi. The green gourd martial spirit came out of his body, along with the elf female officer, Lulu. Lulu's petite figure flapped her wings and flew around Lin Muyu with a smile. She said with a smile, "Congratulations, brother, you're about to level up." Lin Muyu said, "Lu, where have you been? I haven't felt you sleeping in my body for the past 2 days." Lulu smiled, "Brother, I'm just a body of soul energy. I've been flying around the continent for the past few days, gathering information. How else could I help you?" "Then can you help me see what materials I need to refine this bloodthirsty tiger spirit stone?" Lulu looked at it and said, "I don't need any materials, just directly refine it. This spirit stone contains an extremely powerful bloodthirsty spirit energy. It should be able to provide the gourd with the ability to absorb energy, but I don't know what it is exactly." Lin Muyu closed his eyes and began to focus on refining the spirit stone. The cauldron appeared, and the moment the bloodthirsty tiger's spirit stone fell into it, the cauldron began to tremble violently. The green gourd absorbed the spirit stone's energy in a frenzy, and the spirit stone began to break down bit by bit under the frenzied refinement. Countless strands of energy flowed into Lin Muyu's body and was absorbed by him for his own use. This process lasted for nearly an hour. When Lin Muyu slowly opened his eyes, he could see things more clearly, and the energy in his body had to be released. He opened his hand, and true energy flowed out of his body, forming an air shield with a hum. This was the skill of the first layer of the Earth realm, Shield Qi, an ability that could greatly increase a person's defense. When Lin Muyu looked inside his Yi, he could see spikes of thorns growing out of the gourd vines. Lulu flew beside him and said, "This skill can be called thorns. If you're pierced by the thorns, you'll be in serious trouble." "What's the big deal?" Lin Muyu was a little displeased. This skill was somewhat disappointing. Lulu smiled. "Because the thorns contain the bloodthirsty energy of the bloodthirsty tiger. Once you're pierced, your true energy will leak out like crazy. So that's how it is." This was more satisfactory. Standing up, Lin Muyu clenched his fist and gathered strength. Immediately, a powerful force lingered around his fist. This force was far stronger than before. It seemed like he had already stepped into the level 30 War Master, but he had never gone to the Holy Hall to verify it. Otherwise, he would have been able to receive a lot of gold coins every month to subsidize his family. At this moment, a knock came from the door. Xianxia, the little demoness, appeared again. "Young master, Xianxia has brought you and Miss Chu Yao dinner." Chapter 30. Xianxia's arrival gave Lin Muyu a headache, and she had to stay for dinner today. Two maids followed behind Xianxia, each holding a tray with a cauldron filled with dishes. These cauldrons were made of silver and were called silver cauldrons. There were 5 cauldrons of dishes, including meat and vegetables, and 2 pots of wine. Chu Yao was secretly speechless. Silver cauldrons were special containers for nobles. Ordinary people mostly used copper cauldrons, while emperors used gold cauldrons. There was a way of eating in the empire called eating with bells and ringing cauldrons. The rich and powerful would play music and eat in the cauldrons. The cauldron was a type of cooking utensil, and in fact, it was very similar to a cauldron. Of course, Chu Yao had never seen such a scene. Even the 5 cauldrons in front of her were rare. The treatment given to her and Lin Muyu by the city lord's mansion was too high. "Young master, this wine is a fine brew from the city lord's mansion. It is only served to important guests. You mustn't miss it." During the meal, Xianxia knelt on the carpet and smiled as she poured wine for Lin Muyu. After toasting him several times, she suddenly asked, "Young master, I heard that you are a new legend in the field of alchemy. At such a young age, you can already refine level 5 and even level 6 medicines. It is said that your alchemy skills came from an ancient book called God of Medicine Canon. Is this true?" Hearing this, Lin Muyu couldn't help but feel a chill in her heart. It's finally here. There's no reason for the city lord's mansion to support me and Chu Yao. After all, Hua Tian and Hua Wan want something from me. What God of Medicine Canon? I don't know. He indifferently said. Although Lin Muyu was arrogant, she also knew how to hide her strength. She also knew that a man's wealth would arouse his wrath. Xianxia giggled and said, "Young master must be joking. It is said that the eldest disciple of the 100 Spirits Medicine Store, Wang Ying, once said that the 100 Spirits Medicine Store had obtained a God of Medicine Canon. Otherwise, young master and your master Chu Feng wouldn't have advanced so quickly in alchemy." Lin Muyu smiled and said, "Perhaps there is, but I don't know." Xianxia nodded and said, "I see." Chu Yao furrowed her brows and said, "Xianxia, did the young city lord send you to probe us?" "No, what are you talking about, Miss Chu Yao?" Xianxia still had a seductive smile on her face. "It's just that there are rumors about young noble Lin Muyu in the streets, so Xianxia asked out of curiosity. Since young noble doesn't know what the divine alchemy canon is, then I won't ask anymore. Come, young noble, Xianxia offers you another toast." After eating and drinking to her heart's content, Lin Muyu continued to cultivate. While practicing her swordsmanship, demonic sonorous fist, and demonic sonorous saber, she also cultivated the Qi shield. This was a skill unique to the first stage of the Earth realm. The Qi shield could protect her at any time, and it was also a necessary survival skill. Chu Yao did not go to bed early today. Instead, she accompanied Lin Muyu to cultivate in the courtyard. She cultivated the silver needle technique. Do. 3 silver needles silently shot into the wooden board. Chu Yao smiled in satisfaction and walked forward to pull out the silver needles one by one. Lin Muyu watched from the side and said, "This kind of strength can be used to treat people with acupuncture, but it's not enough to kill people. It might not even be able to break the chi shield of an Earth Realm expert." Chu Yao nodded. "Yes, I know." As she spoke, she took out 2 daggers and activated her true chi. Waves of chi appeared on the tips of the daggers. She smiled and said, "You, come and spar with senior sister. I know you're very strong now, but senior sister doesn't know how strong you are." But Lin Muyu stretched out her hand and pulled out the steel sword beside her. She smiled and said, "Sister Chu Yao, you can attack." Chu Yao's lips curled up and she quickly closed in. Her daggers struck twice in a row, attacking from the left and right. The sweeping momentum was awe-inspiring, but Lin Muyu's reaction speed was faster. With 2 clangs, she used her steel sword to parry the attacks. She didn't hold back and pressed forward with a fierce lightning strike. She used about 40% of her strength and didn't use her full strength. How could Chu Yao have thought that Lin Muyu's speed would be this fast? She hastily used her daggers to block the attack. With a loud, ping sound, her arms felt numb. She groaned and took a few steps back. Her eyes widened as she said, "Wow, your strength is so strong now. Senior sister can't even block one of your attacks." Lin Muyu's eyes widened. Lin Muyu faintly smiled and said, "Big sis Chu Yao, your physical strength is a bit lacking, and the growth of your purple marten martial spirit is also a bit weak. More importantly, your speed isn't fast enough. Before you even hit your opponent's weak point, you've already revealed an opening. I actually have a way to increase your speed." "Yes, what is it? Teach me quickly." Chu Yao was a little excited. Lin Muyu said, "Comprehend the lightning element in the air and condense it into a weapon to attack at high speed. This will make your attacks much more efficient." "This is..." Chu Yao's eyes lit up. "This is the lightning strike that Flame Chu Chu taught you?" "Oh no." Lin Muyu shook her head. "The lightning strike is too fast. You won't be able to learn it at your current level, so I won't teach you the silent, lightning strike. I will only teach you how to control the lightning element. Moreover, I promised Chu Chu that I won't teach anyone else the martial skills he taught me." Yes. Chu Yao was a considerate girl. She began to learn how to control the lightning element. Xianxia leaned against the tree and said with a smile, "Fire Cauldron Chu Chu actually taught you so many martial techniques. This is really rare. I heard that Fire Cauldron Chu Chu was very proud all his life. He never taught anyone the essence of martial techniques." Lin Muyu secretly laughed. If she didn't give him high-rank alchemy in exchange, the old man wouldn't have taught her the demon note fist and green rock armor. In fact, Lin Muyu really wanted to use the treasure cauldron to refine Chu Yao's martial soul, but he didn't know the feasibility of this. If it didn't work, it might even harm Chu Yao. Chu Yao's purple marten's growth was too slow. It didn't even have 30% of his green gourd. This was the main reason why Chu Yao was so weak. He could only take it slow. When the time was right, he would naturally help Chu Yao increase her strength. He cultivated until midnight and then went back to his room to sleep. But Xianxia insisted on staying to serve him, so he had no choice but to let her stay. Xianxia slept on the bed while Lin Muyu slept on the bench. After cultivating for a whole day, he fell into a deep sleep. Just as he was sleeping soundly, a violent knock came from the door. "Young hero Lin, Miss Chu, something bad has happened." "What happened?" Lin Muyu got up and ran to the door. When he opened the door, he saw a guard panting. "Quick, go to the front hall of the city lord's mansion. Something bad has happened. Our team heading to the imperial capital was ambushed by wandering mercenaries. Many people died and all the goods were lost. Your 100 Spirits medicine shop master, Elder Chu Feng, also died from his injuries." Chu Feng was dead. Lin Muyu's mind went blank. Chu Yao, who was behind him, was pale. She murmured, "How can this be? It must be a lie. Grandpa will be fine. Grandpa will be fine." Torches were flickering in the hall of the city lord's mansion. At least 1,000 soldiers had surrounded the mansion. Hua Tian had mobilized many soldiers. Something had indeed happened. A few of the carriages were stained with blood. Lin Muyu recognized that these were the carriages of the convoy that Chu Feng had traveled with. These carriages were originally loaded with some special products and gifts for the royal family of Lanyan City. But now, they were piled with bloody corpses. The blood on many of the corpses had already coagulated into blood stains. Chu Feng's peaceful face was revealed when the gray cloth was lifted. His chest had been pierced through the heart by a sharp blade. He had been dead for a long time. Looking at Chu Feng's corpse, Chu Yao burst into tears. She lay on top of his corpse and wailed. Chu Feng had raised her since she was a child. Her only relative had passed away just like that. Chu Yao felt as if the entire world was about to collapse. Lin Muyu clenched his fists and stood at the side. He did not comfort Chu Yao. At this time, he should let her suffer. Otherwise, Chu Yao's emotions would completely collapse. Standing up, Lin Muyu looked at the group of soldiers around her. Many of them were injured. City Lord Hua Tian raised his iron blade, his eyes filled with killing intent. He said angrily, "Chu Feng is an elder of the Spirit Medicine Division. Why is he separated from us forever? What the hell happened?" The general, Ning Daorong, supported himself with his spear. His face was pale, and the armor in front of his chest had been pierced by 2 arrows. Fresh blood flowed out as he suddenly knelt on the ground and said, "City Lord, we've already done our best, but we were ambushed by a group of wandering mercenaries when we were passing through the Razor Gorge. There was a battle saint-level expert among them, and I wasn't his match. I was seriously injured and could only watch helplessly as Elder Chu Feng was killed and the goods were stolen. Please punish us, City Lord." Hua Tian clenched his teeth and suddenly pulled out his sword and placed it against Ning Daorong's neck. He shouted angrily, "General Ning, don't think that I dare not kill you. This is your crime of dereliction of duty. You caused the death of a pillar of the empire." Ning Daorong murmured, "City Lord, I have no regrets dying by your sword. I have failed the empire and Silver Fir City." But the injured soldiers all knelt down and begged for mercy. Hua Tian sighed, Fine, this is all fate. Ning Daorong, I will deduct 2 years of your rations and demote you by 1 rank. Do you have any objections?" "This general has no objections." Hua Tian walked over and placed a hand on Lin Muyu's shoulder. His eyes were deep as he said, "Child, Silver Fir City is responsible for Elder Chu Feng's death. Don't be too sad. I will do my best to satisfy your and Chu Yao's needs in the future. Don't worry, Silver Fir City and the Spirit Medicine Division will not abandon you." Lin Muyu's eyes were somewhat red as she said, "I understand. Thank you, City Lord." He turned around and crouched down to hug Chu Yao's shoulder from behind. Then, he reached out to open the wound on Chu Feng's chest. The wound was shaped like a triangular cone, and it was likely that the strike had come from a special weapon. "Sister Chu Yao, don't be too sad. Please bury Grandpa Chu Feng as soon as possible." Chapter 31. That night, Chu Yao stayed by Chu Feng's morning hall, crying non-stop. Wang Ying, Luo Kai, and the other disciples had already prepared the coffin for the burial. Chu Yao's eyes were red and swollen. Lin Muyu's heart ached at the sight, but she didn't know how to comfort her. It seemed that Chu Yao didn't need consolation. When the first ray of sunlight shone into the morning hall, Chu Yao pulled out the dagger at her waist and bit a lock of hair. The dagger flashed, and a strand of hair fell to the ground. "Sister Chu Yao, what are you doing?" Lin Muyu asked in astonishment. Chu Yao didn't speak. Tears rolled down her face as she looked at Lin Muyu. She didn't stop. She cut off strand after strand of hair until only a short hair was left. She looked at her tearfully and said, Grandpa is gone. I finally know how to be strong." Lin Muyu was stunned. For an entire morning, Chu Feng was buried at the edge of the 7 Stars forest. A living person had passed away just like that. In the afternoon, after sending Chu Yao back to the Spirit Medicine Division, Lin Muyu immediately went to the 100 Battles trading firm to look for Lei Baijian. Lei Baijian didn't know about Chu Feng's death. He was excited when he saw Lin Muyu. He laughed and said, "Young hero Lin, you'd never know that 2 bottles of Dream of Extreme Peaks were sold for 4,400 and 4,700 Jin coins respectively. This is such a profit. Come, follow me to the back hall to settle the bill." "Boss Lei." Lin Muyu's voice was calm. "I want to ask for someone." "Oh? Who is it?" "Who's the most well-informed person in Silver Fir City?" "This." Lei Baijian pondered for a moment. "The most well-informed and quick-witted person? It should be that brat Sidu Hao." "Oh right, what do you need someone like that for?" "I'll just find him." "And okay." For Lei Baijian, Lin Muyu was a cash cow. Naturally, he would grant her every request. Not long after, a young man around 20 years old appeared in the back hall. It was the C2 Hao that Lei Baijian had mentioned. He had a smile on his face. "Young hero Lin, what business do you have with me?" "Just follow me." "All right." After leaving the 100 War Merchant Guild, Lin Muyu turned around and gave him 20 gold coins. She asked, "You should be very familiar with Ning Daorong, right?" "General Ning." Sidu Hao laughed, "Of course we are. Other than the city lord, General Ning is the person with the most military power in Silver Fir City. He has 2,000 imperial soldiers under his command." "What are Ning Daorong's usual habits?" "It's just a habit. As a general, it's nothing more than drinking, visiting brothels, and so on. By the way, General Ning has a lover in the Spring Pavilion in the western part of the city. Her name is Ruan Ruyu, and she is one of the top courtesans in the city. Generally, when there is nothing to do, General Ning will go to Ruan Ruyu's boudoir for the night." "Where is Ruan Ruyu's boudoir?" "On the top floor of the Spring Pavilion. There is only one room, and that is Ruan Ruyu's boudoir." Lin Muyu patted his shoulder and said, "Sidu Hao, thank you. Here is the other 30 gold coins. Perhaps I will continue to ask you to work for me. Don't worry, as long as you follow me, I won't let you suffer any losses." Sidu Hao's eyes lit up at the sight of money and nodded repeatedly, "Yes, yes, yes. Don't worry, young hero Lin. Don't worry about me." "All right, then find a few experts to protect Chu Yao of the Spirit Medicine Division. Is that all right?" "Mercenaries are fine. I can find 2 who are at the first level of Earth Realm above level 30. The commission will be 20 gold coins per day. Is that all right?" "Sure. Find a few more and have them guard the courtyard from afar. They just need to make sure no one hurts Chu Yao." It was late at night in the Spring Pavilion. The lights gradually dimmed, and the sounds of sex could be heard from the rooms. While they were enjoying themselves, a figure flew past the attic and landed lightly on the top floor of the Spring Pavilion like a falling leaf. Lin Muyu hugged his steel sword and closed his eyes. He could vaguely hear Ruan Ryu's moans and Ning Daorong's heavy panting in the room. How could a person who had just been injured by an arrow have the energy to stay here for even a moment? In an instant, Lin Muyu's thoughts were confirmed once again. He leaped up lightly, climbed through the window, and silently landed on the floor. His footsteps were very light. This was the mystery of falling star steps. He looked into the distance and saw 4 soldiers standing guard outside the door. The starlight shone on their figures outside the window, and Ning Daorong was lying on the woman's body, enjoying himself to the fullest. Ruan Ryu panted and moaned in pleasure. By the side, Ning Daorong's 3-edged spear was there. As a martial artist, his weapon never left his side. Lin Muyu walked over slowly and drew his sword. The sound of the steel sword rubbing against the scabbard was very soft, but Ning Daorong still heard it. He quickly turned around and growled, "Who is it?" "It's me," Lin Muyu said faintly. Amidst Ruan Ryu's screams, Lin Muyu leaped up and slashed out with her sword. The speed of the falling star steps and thunderclap slash was simply too fast. Ning Daorong didn't even have time to circulate his energy to defend before he was struck. His right arm was severed from the middle and fresh blood splattered everywhere. His white bones were clearly visible, but he was still a man. He only growled, "Lin Muyu, are you crazy? Why did you sneak attack this general?" Lin Muyu said indifferently, "My master Chu Feng was pierced through the heart by this spear of yours, wasn't he? Unfortunately, you didn't destroy the wound. Instead, you disguised a few arrows in front of your chest." Who would have thought that the other corpses had dried up for almost a day, but your arrows were still there? Speaking of which, you're really an arrogant idiot. Moreover, look down at your chest. Where did the wound come from? Bastard, you killed my grandpa Chu Feng. Do you think you can get away with this? Today, I'll make you pay with your blood. Ning Daorong roared. This general is the general of Silver Fir City. You dare kill me? Men, kill this assassin for me. Outside the room, several personal guards rammed open the door. But Lin Muyu was even faster. She opened her left hand and unleashed her green gourd martial soul. Gourd vines pierced through the floor and wrapped around the four guards. At the same time, her demonic noise saber whistled through the air and pierced through the gourd vines. The four guards were all killed without exception. Ning Daorong turned pale with fright. These guards were all at the second level of the human realm, but this brat had killed them all in an instant. Just how terrifying was his cultivation? But Ning Daorong was, after all, a level 44 battle sovereign. He stood up and grabbed the spear with his bare left hand. With a roar, his martial spirit emerged from his body in the form of a fierce tiger. It looked quite fierce. Flames ignited on the spear as he launched an all-out attack with a low roar. The spear swallowed over like a fiery serpent. Lin Muyu appeared even calmer. With a single thought, the green gourd spirit condensed in front of her chest. Immediately after, a layer of fiery red-black tortoise shell appeared as a defense. With a bang, she forced Ning Daorong back. Although she felt intense pain from the recoil, Lin Muyu had already sensed that Ning Daorong's strength had decreased sharply after losing an arm. He was no longer her match. She suddenly activated the Fallen Star steps and appeared on Ning Daorong's left side. She raised her sword with both hands and the wind and lightning fluctuated. Another lightning strike slashed through Ning Daorong's condensed chi shield. The blade landed on his left arm and even cut off a large piece of flesh, causing him to howl in pain. Lin Muyu let out a low roar and punched out with her left fist. She had used all her strength. Bang! The demonic sound fist struck through the air. Ning Daorong let out a muffled groan as his internal organs were all shattered. He died on the spot. Wan Ryu looked at Ning Daorong's corpse and shook her head repeatedly. She said to Lin Muyu, "Don't kill me, don't kill me. I don't know anything." "You can't kill me," Lin Muyu frowned and said, "If I don't kill you, you will definitely betray me. Drink this." "What is it?" Without waiting for Wan Ryu to say anything, Lin Muyu directly forced her to drink a bottle of Dream Return to Extreme Peak. This would make her sleep for at least 3 days. It could be considered sparing her life. She grabbed Ning Daorong's 3-pointed spear and leapt off the roof of the spring pavilion, heading straight for the city lord's mansion. When she entered the mansion at daybreak, there were indeed a few mercenaries guarding the door. It seemed that the Jinin coins were quite useful. Lin Muyu hurriedly rushed into the courtyard and pushed open the door to Chu Yao's room. She found that her eyes were red and she still hadn't slept. Her mind was already extremely weak. She said softly, Why are you? Let's go." Lin Muyu grabbed her hand and led her out the door. "Where are we going?" "100 Spirits Medicine Hall." "What for?" "Call the brothers out of the city. This place is no longer suitable for them to live in." "Why?" "Grandfather was killed by Ning Daorong." "What?" Chu Yao was instantly shocked. How is that possible? Ning Daorong is the city's general. Why would he kill grandfather? Why would he do that? Lin Muyu said calmly, because the city lord, Hua Tian, wanted the god of medicine codex, so he killed grandfather. Ning Daorong was seriously injured last night, but there was no wound on his chest. Grandfather's fatal wound was in the shape of a 3-pointed spear. It was this spear in my hand that killed grandfather, and this 3-pointed spear was Ning Daorong's weapon. Chu Yao was also a smart girl. She instantly understood everything. She clenched her teeth and said, I want to kill Ning Daorong. I've already killed him, let's go. When they arrived at the 100 Spirits Medicine Hall, they found that it was in chaos. The place was on fire. Lin Muyu rushed into the sea of fire with the green gourd martial spirit, only to find that the ground was covered with corpses. Wang Ying, Zhao Exin, Luo Kai, and the others were all lying in a pool of blood. This place had been bathed in blood. Feeling a sharp pain in her heart, Lin Muyu suddenly punched the wall, blaming herself. Why didn't she think that Hua Tian would attack the 100 Spirits Medicine Hall? The reason why he asked Xianxia to find out where the God of Medicine Codex was meant that they couldn't find the God of Medicine Codex on Chu Feng, so they would definitely look for it in the 100 Spirits Medicine Hall. Eldest brother Wang Ying, junior brother Luo Kai. Looking at the corpses on the ground, Chu Yao tears rolled down her cheeks again. However, at this moment, the sound of hooves came from outside, and someone was shouting, Lin Muyu killed General Ning. She is now a fugitive of the Empire. Don't let her get lost, Lin Muyu and Chu Yao. Don't let any of them go. Chapter 32. Let's go through the back door. Kicking open the bloody back door, Lin Muyu grabbed Chu Yao and flew out, only to see that the city streets were filled with armored cavalry. City Lord Hua Tian moved really fast. The city was most likely surrounded by soldiers already. If they didn't take advantage of the chaos to escape, Silver Fir City would definitely become his and Chu Yao's grave. They chose to go through alleyways and quickly weaved through the chaotic crowd. However, when they arrived at the city gate, they discovered that a group of guards was closing the city gate. However, an ox cart was halfway through the gate when its wheels collapsed, and the cart was filled with heavy sacks of grain. This was a great help, but it was a pity that the city walls were filled with soldiers, many of them holding longbows in their hands with arrows already knocked. We can't leave, Chu Yao said through clenched teeth. No, we have to go. Lin Muyu grabbed Chu Yao's hand tightly and said, Come with me. Don't hesitate or retreat. The two of them rushed out at high speed. The guards didn't even have time to react before Lin Muyu and Chu Yao flashed past like lightning and rushed out the moment the gates were about to close. Those two are the felons of the Empire, Lin Muyu and Chu Yao. Kill them immediately. A familiar angry roar came from the city walls. It was City Lord Hua Tian. Hua Wan was standing next to his father with a cold smile on his face. The bows on the city walls shot out arrows one after another. Lin Muyu shouted as she ran. The green gourd emerged from her body and formed a 2-meter-tall mystic tortoise shell behind her. Pung, pung, pung. The mystic tortoise shell deflected the arrows. The defense of the mystic tortoise shell was indeed unparalleled. Traitor, you still want to leave? Hua Wan suddenly pulled out his long sword and jumped off the city wall. He landed on a warhorse and pointed his sword forward. He shouted, Iron Cavalry Camp, follow me and kill Lin Muyu. Hua Tian shouted from the city walls, Stop. You don't need to do it yourself if you want to keep them here. Men, bring that lowly servant to me. 2 cavalrymen dragged a woman up the city wall. It was Xianxia. At this time, Xianxia's face was covered in bruises, and there were even whip marks on her chest and arms. She was covered in blood. Infuriated, Lin Muyu pointed at Hua Tian, who was standing on the city wall, and bellowed, Why, you son of a bitch! If you have a problem, come at me. Why are you torturing a maidservant like this? Hua Tian smiled faintly and said, Lin Muyu, I know that Xianxia has given her body to you. She's your woman. If you're a man, you'd better surrender. Otherwise, this 20-meter-tall city wall will be the place where she dies. Lin Muyu held Chu Yao's hand tightly. It was impossible for him to give up Chu Yao to save Xianxia. Looking at the hesitant Lin Muyu below the city walls, Xianxia's tears rolled down her cheeks. Her body trembled slightly as she cried, Young master, you still don't believe me even now, right? You still don't believe that Xianxia is willing to do anything for you, right? Lin Muyu clenched her teeth and said, Xianxia. Xianxia laughed, but it was a very sad laugh. Young master, Xianxia's body is not clean anymore. I'm not good enough for you. But just like you said, Xianxia should choose her own life. Hua Tian said angrily, You bitch, what nonsense are you talking about? You're a maidservant of the city lord's mansion. When did you get to choose your life? Meant tear off her clothes. I'd like to see how she chooses her own fate. A guard stepped forward and grabbed Xianxia. Rip! The clothes on her upper body were torn to shreds. Xianxia remained silent. When her clothes were completely torn to shreds and she was completely naked, she slowly lowered her body and picked up the pieces of cloth to cover her breasts. Although her movements were slow, those pieces of cloth seemed to be her last shred of dignity. She would rather give up everything than give up her dignity. I was born free. Xianxia looked at Hua Tian. There was no longer any fear in her eyes, and her voice was full of calmness. She slowly approached the city walls and suddenly smiled. In an extremely gentle voice, she said to Lin Muyu, Young master once said that dignity is worth fighting for at the cost of one's life. Young master, if you don't believe me, then I will prove it to you. Hua Tian's cold eyes fell on her. He knew that this kind of woman was afraid of death. In order to live, she could sell her body. She had given her virginity to him in order to survive, which proved everything. However, under Hua Tian's gaze, this weak woman jumped up like a meteor and shattered into pieces. Her young life was gone in the blink of an eye. Looking at Xianxia lying in a pool of blood under the city walls, Hua Tian was shocked. Soon, his shame turned into anger. He shouted in a low voice, Men, drag this woman's body back and feed it to the dogs. Outside the city walls, Hua Wan had already charged over with his long sword in hand. Lin Muyu stared at Xianxia's body from afar. He suddenly froze in place, feeling as if his heart had been pierced by 1,000 arrows. He slowly turned around and said to Chu Yao, Sister Chu Yao, run into the 7 Stars forest quickly. I'll catch up to you in a moment. You'll only be a burden if you stay here. Chu Yao knew that he was speaking the truth. Her strength was far, far inferior to his. Come here quickly. Drops of rain fell from the sky. She ran madly through the rain towards the 7 Stars forest. She didn't know if it was because of the rain or her tears. She knew that Lin Muyu wanted to take revenge for Xianxia, but she couldn't stop him. She could only pray for him from the bottom of her heart. The charging power of a cavalry was terrifying, especially the armored cavalrymen of the prefectural army. Their charging power was even more frightening. Lin Muyu didn't move an inch. When Hua Wan's warhorse was only 10 meters away from him, he abruptly raised his fist and exploded in the air. Hua Wan's warhorse was immediately frightened and knelt to the ground with a long neigh, throwing the young city lord off his horse. Hua Wan's skills were also extraordinary. When he fell off his horse, he stepped into the air and exerted strength. His long sword carried the full power of his thunder all-martial soul, and he swung it at Lin Muyu. Whoosh! Stepping on the rain-soaked grass, Lin Muyu immediately activated the falling star steps. Hua Wan's attack also landed heavily on the ground. His attack was far too clumsy compared to Lin Muyu's. Both of them were at the first level of the Earth realm, but the true difference in strength was astonishing. Bang! Lin Muyu's elbow struck the back of his opponent. His long sword flashed like lightning, shattering the opponent's energy shield and tearing a bloody wound in Hua Wan's abdomen. Ah! Hua Wan roared and swung his sword in a circle. However, he did not manage to hit Lin Muyu. He panted heavily as rainwater flowed down his cheeks. Just as he was about to move, he felt a cold blade on his neck from behind. Kneel! Lin Muyu's icy voice sounded. Hua Wan couldn't help but kneel on the ground when he felt a heavy blow on the back of his knee. He looked up at his father on the city wall, his eyes filled with disbelief. Father? Hua Tian's head exploded. He never thought that his son would be so weak. Let go of the young lord and I'll spare your life. Hua Tian roared and rushed down the city wall. He was a level 47 battle venerable. Holding a long spear in his hand, he roared angrily, Lin Muyu, you're just a lowly commoner. If you kill a noble, your whole family will be implicated. Let go of my son, and I'll let bygones be bygones. I'll let you and Chu Yao go. The rain was getting heavier and heavier. Lin Muyu's eyelashes were already covered with rainwater, but her eyes were filled with coldness. She suddenly laughed and said, "Let us go? Huatian, you'll die here today. Do you know that?" Huatian roared, "Who do you think you are? You want to kill me? You're too arrogant, you little bastard." Lin Muyu gently pulled the long sword, and with a crack, the main artery in Hua Wan's neck was cut. Blood spurted out, and Hua Wan immediately knelt on the ground. He covered the wound with his hands, but it was impossible. Blood mixed with rainwater and splashed everywhere. Hua Wan's life was rapidly drained, and in the blink of an eye, he became a corpse lying on the ground. Huatian seemed to have turned into a wild beast. His whole body was covered with lightning bolts, and he pounced on Lin Muyu. "Arrogant little bastard, I'm going to kill you." Arrogant. Lin Muyu was arrogant, but he was not reckless. Judging from Huatian's momentum, he knew that he couldn't fight him head-on. He spun his feet and took a few steps back. He waved his long sword and activated the wind symbol formula of the wind-riding sword art. His body was wrapped in an invisible gust of wind as he dashed towards his opponent and launched a lightning strike. However, Huatian's speed was not inferior to Lin Muyu's. With a flick of his long spear, he actually parried the thunder strike with a loud clang. Huatian leaped into the air and kicked the thunder hammer out of his foot, hitting Lin Muyu's black tortoise shell with a loud bang. Seeing this, Huatian let out a cold harumph and thrust his long spear forward like a poisonous snake. With a puff sound, a flower of blood blossomed on Lin Muyu's shoulder. With one sword strike and one kick, Lin Muyu was sent rolling in the mud. This defeat was too quick and too miserable. "Break!" Huatian suddenly stomped on the ground. Immediately, an invisible force broke the ground and twisted the furious thunder. Lin Muyu didn't dare to take it head-on. He hastily moved sideways and tried to grab it. However, he was still burned by the thunder, and his wounds were bleeding profusely. After gaining the upper hand, Huatian attacked again and again. In less than a few minutes, at least 7 or 8 wounds had appeared on Lin Muyu's body. Swoosh! A green vine broke out of the ground and directly wrapped around Huatian's right leg. The thorns on the green vine were so sharp that they directly pierced through his skin. "What's that?" Huatian disdainfully chopped off the green vine, but he didn't know that his true qi was rapidly flowing out of his wound. Lin Muyu only defended and didn't attack. She used the green rock armor and the black tortoise shell to defend against Huatian's continuous attacks. Huatian had the upper hand. Hundreds of cavalrymen around him didn't make a move. They were all waiting for the city lord to personally kill the fugitive to avenge his son. Finally, after a long time, Huatian's aura became chaotic. Although Lin Muyu was covered in wounds, she still held on with her strong willpower. She swung her left fist horizontally and launched a demon noise punch. It was time to counterattack. Bang! The demon noise punch landed on Huatian's chest, but it only hit the qi shield. Since Huatian's true qi was far stronger than his son's, the demon noise punch naturally wouldn't penetrate his internal organs so easily. It's just a small trick. It's not worth mentioning. While Huatian was cursing, Lin Muyu suddenly stretched out her hand behind her. In the next moment, 4 flying daggers merged into a 4-edged flying wheel and swept out. The demon noise saber had launched a surprise attack. Clang! Huatian abruptly swept away the demon noise saber with the tip of his spear and cursed, "Hidden weapon? You despicable little bastard, do you think you can defeat me with hidden weapons?" Lin Muyu didn't say anything. She raised her sword and launched a lightning strike. Then, she raised her left hand and launched 2 demon noise punches. Bang! Bang! Huatian's qi and blood surged under the continuous attacks. However, he was still as powerful as before. He launched a lightning cone attack and sent Lin Muyu flying back dozens of meters while vomiting blood. Holding the long spear in his hand, Huatian sneered and said, "Who do you think you are to fight me? I'm going to cut you into 1,000,000 pieces for killing my son." At this moment, the corner of Lin Muyu's mouth curled up into a smile. What? Huatian cursed inwardly. Suddenly, A whistling sound came from behind his head. Before he could react, the demon noise saber swept across the air with a loud crack. Lin Muyu leaped up and caught the flying dagger, disassembled it, and put it into the luggage bag tied around her waist. Hua Tian stood there in silence. The group of guards were also dumbfounded. In their eyes, the city lord's head finally slid down slowly. Chapter 33. Wild Goose Formation. In a cavalry battle, the wild goose formation was the most suitable method to deal with a small number of enemies. Once trapped in the wild goose formation, even a god wouldn't be able to escape. Lin Muyu strode forward and flipped open Hua Tian's clothes. Sure enough, there was an ancient book hidden inside. It was the Divine Alchemy Codex. It was stained with blood, but she couldn't tell if it belonged to Hua Tian or someone from the same sect. She quickly stuffed the Divine Alchemy Codex into her clothes, grabbed Hua Tian's spear, and took a few steps back. Hit! With a furious roar, the spear flew out like an arrow and pierced through the chest of one of the cavalrymen at the front. The cavalryman and his horse fell to the ground and rolled on the ground, leaving a trail of mud behind them. However, at that moment, the two cavalrymen on the flanks began to close their formation. Two cavalrymen, one on the left and one on the right, raised their sabers and slashed at Lin Muyu. Lin Muyu could only see the ferocious expressions on the two cavalrymen's faces. With the speed of the long sabers, the force behind the charge of the cavalrymen was obviously not weak. In the nick of time, Lin Muyu raised her arm and summoned her martial soul, the black tortoise shell. Bang! The huge impact wreaked havoc in her arms, sending Lin Muyu flying with her sword into the mud. Her arms were numb, but the two cavalrymen were not much better off. They were knocked off their horses by the mystic tortoise shell and were trampled to death by the cavalrymen behind them. Their screams were heart-wrenching. Just as Lin Muyu got up, she felt a burning pain in her shoulder. One of the cavalrymen had pierced her arm with a spear. She swung her sword horizontally, but the handle of the spear was made of wood. Crack! Lin Muyu let out a low roar and released her martial soul again. With a swoosh, several gourd vines burst out of the ground and wrapped around the cavalryman. Taking advantage of the situation, Lin Muyu punched the cavalryman with her left fist. The demonic sound fist shattered the cavalryman's internal organs. Pa pa pa! Stepping on the mud, Lin Muyu's arm was already completely red. The rainwater had seeped into his wound, causing a burning pain. Lin Muyu quickly retreated a few steps with his steel sword in hand. He increased the speed of his falling star steps. He had to leave, otherwise, he would definitely die under the charge of this group of cavalrymen. Forget about him being a war master who had just broken through LV-30. Even if he was a LV-90 Sacred Domain expert, he might not be able to fight against hundreds of iron cavalry head-on. After all, there was a limit to one's strength, and the destructive power of the cavalry's charge was endless. Fortunately, the fallen star steps were fast, and after a few leaps, he had already left the attack range of the charging formation. Don't let him escape. Catch him and kill him. Avenge the city lord and the young city lord. A group of armored horsemen roared. Lin Muyu ran like a madman. Blood was flowing out of his wounds, making him somewhat weak. He wanted to retrieve Xianxia's body. He didn't want to let Xianxia's body suffer any more humiliation, but it was already too late. As long as he turned back, he would definitely die. His back suddenly trembled, and he felt a burning pain. The arrow from the cavalry archer had pierced through his green rock armor's innate chi, entering about a few centimeters into his flesh. Although it wasn't heavy, it was like adding insult to injury. I can't stop, I have to continue running. Sister Chu Yao is still waiting for me. The rain blurred his vision, but he still did not stop. He jumped into the bushes. The thorns on his body were extremely painful, but when he thought of Xianxia's tragic death, he felt as if 10,000 arrows had pierced through his heart, so this little bit of pain was nothing. I killed her. He secretly blamed himself. He shouldn't have said to Xianxia that dignity is worth fighting for with one's life. He couldn't save her, and instead caused her to die. What did he count as? His physical strength continued to deplete, and the self-blame in his heart pushed him closer and closer to his limit. However, every time he was about to fall, he would think of Chu Yao. If he died, what would Chu Yao do? How would she face everything that would happen in the future? Therefore, he couldn't fall. Perhaps it was this belief that saved him. After running madly for almost 20 minutes, his body was covered in wounds. When he looked back, he discovered that the pursuit had stopped. This was a mountain road that was at least several kilometers long, and it was not suitable for cavalry at all. If the cavalry of the Cathaya prefectural army dismounted and gave chase, their walking speed would obviously be far slower than Lin Muyu's fallen star steps. You! Chu Yao's voice rang in his blurry vision. Lin Muyu's knees buckled and he fell to the ground. He immediately fell into Chu Yao's arms and leaned against her shoulder. A familiar fragrance entered his nose, and he couldn't help but blame himself. I'm sorry, Sister Chu Yao, it's all my fault. It's this god of medicine tome that caused Grandpa's tragic death. It's all my fault. Your wounds are too heavy, don't speak. Chu Yao looked at the spear wound on his arm and the arrow in his back. Her tears fell together with the rainwater. At night, the crackling firewood lit up the small cave. This was a wild bear's cave, but the owner was already lying in a pool of blood at the side. In order to kill this wild bear, Chu Yao had added a new wound on her shoulder, but it clearly wasn't as heavy as the person lying on the hay. Lin Muyu slowly woke up, and the first thing he saw was Chu Yao's side profile. He looked up and saw that the wound on his arm had been bandaged. He could feel a faint pain on his back, but it clearly wasn't as painful as before. You're awake. Chu Yao turned to look at him with a warm smile on her face. Then she fiddled with the pot on the bonfire. Rather than saying it was a pot, it was better to say that it was chiseled out of a stone. In order to make this pot, Chu Yao had used a pair of daggers to chisel away a pile of stones. The pot was boiling soup and the material was wild bear meat. In order to help Lin Muyu recover quickly, Chu Yao had dug out the bear's heart and boiled it into soup. You must be hungry. Wait a moment, the meat soup will be ready soon. Chu Yao said softly, like a caring sister. Lin Muyu saw the wound on Chu Yao's shoulder at a glance. I'm sorry, fool, why are you saying sorry? It's nothing, thank you. There's no need to be so polite with senior sister. Chu Yao smiled, but the smile on her face gradually disappeared. She pursed her lips and said, It's all because I'm too useless. I couldn't help you at all, and instead became Yu's burden. Grandpa and my fellow disciples are all dead, and even that Xianxia is dead. Lin Muyu struggled to sit up and held her shoulder. She smiled, Sister Chu Yao, don't blame yourself. I've already avenged them. Chu Yao was stunned. Lin Muyu looked at the dancing flames and smiled slightly. I've killed Hua Wan and Hua Tian. They were the main culprits, so I've avenged Grandpa and my fellow disciples. Chu Yao looked at him in disbelief. You're not joking with senior sister, are you? Hua Tian he's an expert close to the battle sage realm, the strongest person in Silver Fir City. How could you have possibly killed him? Because of them. Lin Muyu caressed the 4 flying daggers beside her. The demon noise daggers are Teacher Chu Chu's ultimate technique. Without them, I'm afraid I would have died to Hua Tian's spear already. Chu Yao sighed quietly. Yes, it's good that we were able to take revenge, but I'm afraid we'll have to roam the world in the future. Hua Tian is the city lord of Silver Fir City. Although the city isn't big, Hua Tian is a true minister of the empire. Now that he's dead, the empire will definitely send many troops to hunt us down. Don't worry, I'll protect you. Lin Muyu smiled stubbornly, but it touched her wounds and she couldn't help but groan. Chu Yao couldn't help but smile. You're just too stubborn. Lie down and rest well. I'll take care of you until your wounds are completely healed. After lying down, Lin Muyu silently adjusted her true energy and cleared the blocked meridians caused by her wounds. Otherwise, she would definitely be crippled. This took quite a while, but not long after, Chu Yao had already filled a stone bowl with steaming meat soup and placed it in front of him. Although he didn't know what time it was, It had been a long time since he'd eaten, and he was indeed hungry. He immediately swallowed the soup in big mouthfuls, causing Chu Yao to giggle. Slow down, don't burn yourself. After eating, Lin Muyu continued to adjust her breathing and heal her wounds. She knew that countless dangers were rapidly approaching, and she had to recover her combat strength as soon as possible. Otherwise, Chu Yao definitely wouldn't be able to deal with them by herself. Big sis Chu Yao, what do you plan to do next? Let's survive first. Chu Yao said quietly, I've seen the map of Cathaya City and its surroundings. We'll travel along the edge of the Seven Stars Forest and avoid our pursuers. If we head north, we'll reach the imperial capital Lanyan City in about half a month's time. We'll see what we can do when we get there. My brother Chu Huayin has been away from home for many years, and I heard that he once appeared in Lanyan City. In any case, let's survive first. When Chu Yao mentioned Lanyan City, Lin Muyu couldn't help but think of a beautiful figure. Tang Xiaoxi should be in Lanyan City, right? Perhaps I should go look for her? No, that doesn't seem appropriate. I've killed an important official of the empire. If Tang Xiaoxi covers up for me, I'll definitely get into trouble. Moreover, given our friendship, it doesn't seem likely that she'll help me, does it? That night, Lin Muyu had been recuperating non-stop. At the same time, he used first-grade healing medicine to treat his wounds. The arrow wound on his back soon started to feel numb and itchy, and it was starting to form scabs. The injury on his arm was slightly more serious, and he still needed some time to recuperate completely. However, this did not affect his continuous improvement in strength. At dawn, Five Valleys City, the governor's manor of Tsangnan Province. The governor of the province, Hu Tianning, sat under a lantern with a solemn expression on his face. He slowly unfurled the letter and couldn't help but frown. He said indifferently, Silver Fir City's enforcer Hua Tian was killed by a nameless junior called Lin Muyu? How could something like this happen? The general on guard at the side cupped his fists and said, My lord, this is an emergency. What should we do? A murderous glint flashed through Hu Tianning's eyes. Silver Fir City is a subordinate city of Tsangnan Province. I've been the governor of this province for more than 11 years, and such a major incident has never happened. This matter must be resolved with lightning speed. The assassination of an important official of the empire is an unpardonable crime. Immediately pass down the order and have Commander Wang of the cavalry lead 3,000 soldiers of the Flying Mount Camp to Silver Fir City. We must capture Lin Muyu, alive or dead. Yes, my lord. The general narrowed his eyes and said, It is said that Lin Muyu has fled into the Seven-Star Forest. Our army may not be able to arrive in time. Should we send a letter to Silver Fir City and offer a bounty for wandering mercenaries to help us take care of these two felons, Lin Muyu and Chu Yao? Hu Tianning's voice was very soft. Do as I say. Offer a bounty of 100,000 Jin coins for Lin Muyu's head. Yes. No wonder there's a fragrance around us. Yes, we've probably entered the fire fox's territory, so it wants to hunt us down. Perfect timing, we'll hunt it down instead. The beast spirit of a fire fox is quite compatible with your purple marten martial soul. If you refine its beast spirit, Sister Chu Yao's cultivation will soar. But Chu Yao blinked. The masters of Silver Fir City's Sacred Hall once said that we can't absorb beast spirits too frequently, or our martial soul and body won't be able to handle it. Don't worry, Lin Muyu smiled. Trust me, Sister Chu Yao, there's still a lot of room for improvement. All right then. At noon, they had lunch under a boulder. Their food consisted of 2 pieces of roast beef and some water from a gourd. However, this was already a pretty good life for Lin Muyu and Chu Yao. They'd traveled through the torrential rain a few days ago, and they'd only had 1 meal a day, and it was an extremely dry and cold steamed bun at that. Lin Muyu's gaze fell in another direction as she chewed on the beef. Sister Chu Yao, be careful. That fire fox has appeared. It can attack us at any time, and it'll definitely be a sneak attack. Chu Yao nodded lightly, a silver needle appearing in her hand. The silver needles she threw were quite lethal within 20 meters, but any further and they wouldn't have enough power. Kiki, all of a sudden, a ball of fire appeared in the distance. It was a fox wrapped in flames. The 600-year-old fire fox let out a loud cry from the underbrush. It stirred up the raging flames, and with a hua sound, a large ball of raging flames shot out. Lin Muyu's eyes and hands were quick. She leaped down from the boulder, and her green-gored martial soul emerged from her body. With a wung sound, the black tortoise shell was successfully activated, and the flames that the fire fox shot out were completely dissolved. At the same time, she raised her hand and threw the demonic noise blade towards the fire fox's head. After all, this little guy had cultivated for several hundred years, and had already gained intelligence. It very cleverly scuttled into the underbrush to avoid the demonic noise blade's attack. However, this move was already within Lin Muyu's expectations. Suddenly, there was a hua sound, and many green vines filled with thorns extended from the ground. This was the effect of the thorns, the entanglement skill. In the blink of an eye, the fire fox was tightly bound. Kiki, its cries grew louder, and the flames continued to burn the gourd vines. Chu Yao hastily said, "You, be careful of its flame attack." "It won't." Lin Muyu punched through the air, and with a pung sound the air surged. The spinning demonic noise blade quickly changed direction, and cut through the fire fox's back. Immediately, blood splattered, and the fire fox howled miserably. "Shoot its eyes with the silver needles," Lin Muyu shouted. Chu Yao hastily raised her hand, and the silver needles flew out. In the next moment, the fire fox cried out miserably, and Lin Muyu leaped over with her steel sword in hand. She raised her speed to the limit with the falling star steps, and lightning flickered on the blade of her sword. With a kacha sound, the fire fox's head was immediately sent flying. At the same time, a wave of raging flames spread out in the surroundings. Hong! Fortunately, she had activated the black tortoise shell in time. Otherwise, she would have definitely been burned. Lin Muyu stood at the same place, and looked at the surrounding grassland that had been burnt black. She couldn't help but be speechless. As expected, a 600-year-old wild beast couldn't be underestimated. Otherwise, she would have fallen into its hands. "Sister Chu Yao, hurry up and refine the wild beast's soul." Chu Yao quickly sat down beside the fire fox's corpse, and released her martial soul, the sable. The sable quickly and greedily absorbed the fire fox's spiritual energy, and Lin Muyu acted as if she was protecting it from the side. In fact, her true intention was to summon the female elf official, Lulu, and then summon the treasured cultivation cauldron to assist Chu Yao in absorbing the spiritual energy. With Chu Yao's cultivation, it was impossible for her to completely absorb the fire fox's spiritual energy. However, the treasured cultivation cauldron was like a huge vessel, and it first helped her refine the spiritual energy and left the essence for her. At the same time, it protected Chu Yao's martial soul from being devoured by the wild beast soul. Chu Yao, who was in the middle of cultivating, trembled slightly. This was a huge challenge for her. Moreover, she could feel a tyrannical power helping her, and she could guess who it was. Lin Muyu closed her eyes, and controlled her own power to search the fire fox's wild beast soul. Suddenly, a scorching power began to wreak havoc. That's it. Using the power of her EC, she quickly grabbed onto this power. This was the fire fox's soul essence, and it wanted to escape from the treasured cultivation cauldron's shackles? It was simply a dream. Lin Muyu's refining power was like a huge hand that firmly grabbed onto the fire fox's soul essence, and then provided this precious soul essence to Chu Yao, so that she could slowly refine it. About 2 hours of cultivation finally came to an end. The moment Chu Yao opened her eyes, she was already wild with joy. I've successfully refined the fire fox's beast soul. Heavens, the sable actually comprehended another skill, flame impact. Lin Muyu secretly laughed. It seemed like Tang Xiaoxi's fire fox martial soul also knew this skill. Congratulations, big sister Chu Yao. What level of strength have you reached now? Chu Yao opened her palm, allowing the innate qi to flow, and said, I'm at least at the strength of a level 27 war spirit. Maybe I'll be able to step into the first level of the Earth realm soon. Alright. Lin Muyu nodded and smiled. You still need to practice the needle throwing technique more. It's best if you can accurately shoot and kill targets within 50 meters. This way we'll be able to fight more smoothly. Let's go, we can't stay here for too long. As for Lin Muyu himself, because he lacked a measuring instrument, he did not know what level of War Master he was now. However, in these 3 days, he had killed a few spirit beasts and absorbed a lot of beast spirits. His strength had increased by a lot, so he should at least be above level 36, right? Furthermore, it was extremely beneficial to the improvement of his strength. The two of them walked slowly in the mountains, not knowing that danger was approaching from afar. 2 hours later, in the depths of the Seven Stars Forest. In the desolate woodland, a martial warrior in his 40s walked over with a long blade in his hand. His face was full of beard, and his eyes shone brightly. His gaze landed on a pile of ashes not far away, and he quickly ran over. Looking at the corpse of the fire fox on the ground, he lowered his body and sniffed it. A smile appeared on his face. It's been less than 6 hours since its death. Looking at this wound, it looks like a sword wound. Lin Muyu I Guanyang, have finally found you. With that, he shot into the distance, the long blade in his hand whistling. Imperial Capital, Rain Listening Tower. This was a pavilion located between the Green Mountains and the lake. It was also the most elegant place in the entire Imperial Capital, but it was definitely not a place that ordinary people could come to. Those who were qualified to come here were either rich or noble. On top of the pavilion stood a beautiful young lady dressed in a fiery red dress. She looked at the clear water in the pond quietly. Suddenly, she waved her red sleeves and frowned slightly. Still no news of Lin Muyu? A man dressed in a general's armor knelt down on one knee and said respectfully, Not yet, Princess Shi. It is said that the 7 martial saints of the wandering mercenaries have already been dispatched to hunt down that lad called Lin Muyu. Tang Xiaoxi bit her red lips. How many cavalrymen did grandfather send to protect me this time? 800, Princess. Send all of them out to search for Lin Muyu even if they have to search through the entire Seven Stars Forest. But, in that case, there will be no one left to protect the princess. Tang Xiaoxi suddenly punched down, and her fire fox martial soul surged, smashing a section of the railing into pieces. Her pretty face was filled with anger. Send all of them out. Do you want me to repeat myself? Do you want me to ask Her Highness Yin to give you an order personally before you are willing to go? Yes, Princess, I will go immediately. Tang Xiaoxi stood alone on the long corridor, looking into the distance towards the south. Suddenly, her body trembled slightly and she said, Chu, how good would it be if you were here? Do you know that the disciple you are most proud of is in trouble? Chapter 35. Craggy boulders crisscrossed the mountain range. Bold and vigorous pines stood proudly on the loose soil between the boulders, causing this endless mountain range to look like a winding dragon entrenched in the Seven Stars Forest. Due to the heavy rain that had just fallen, the withered trees had already sprouted purplish-red fungus, emitting a strange fragrance. Beneath the boulders, 2 wandering mercenaries in tattered armor carried a sword and a blade as they walked with all their might. They were called Wang Bao and Lu Shun, wandering mercenaries at the border of Cathaya City. They often accepted missions to kill in the taverns, and even when business was slow, they would often kill and rob. These were wandering mercenaries, a bunch of madmen who were not bound by the laws of the empire. When the first founding emperor founded the empire, in order to preserve the martial spirit of the empire, he had decreed that anyone who took off their martial attire and put on a gray robe could become a wandering mercenary. Wandering mercenaries were not bound by the laws of the empire, but they were allowed to be hunted down and have a bounty placed on them. Thus, killing became the norm, creating a world where the strong preyed on the weak. But it was also because of this that the people of the empire worshipped martial arts, and the Templar Church never lacked warriors who could serve as generals. To the north of the empire's territory was the vast northern desert, inhabited by barbaric herdsmen. To the south were the barbarians who lived in the wild forests. Neither was easy to deal with, but these races were willing to submit to the Qin Empire. The biggest reason for this was the empire's martial spirit, and the Templar Church never lacked warriors to serve as generals. Wang Bao held his long sword under his armpit and slowly dragged it. He took out a piece of paper from his bosom. It was a bounty notice. He frowned. Did we lose him? Otherwise, why haven't we found this Lin Muyu kid after 3 days? Lu Shun shook his head. There's no way we lost him. My Shiba Inu's sense of smell is unparalleled. We'll catch up very soon. Wang Bao couldn't help but sneer. That Shiba Inu of yours is just a 10th grade wild dog. How dare you say it's unparalleled? Aren't you afraid people will laugh their heads off? Let's go. If we can really find Lin Muyu and kill him, the two of us won't have to worry about food and clothing for the rest of our lives. 100,000 golden grin coins is enough for us to buy a big house in the empire and 20 of her concubines. We can have fun every night. Lu Shun sneered but did not say anything. Right at this moment, a burst of violent footsteps came from behind. A person carrying a long saber rushed over. His voice was abnormally loud as he shouted, "Hey, the two of you, stop." Wang Bao and Lu Shun immediately stopped in their tracks. Looking at the newcomer, they were secretly shocked. They had already lost to the opponent in terms of momentum. The opponent was carrying a long saber that weighed at least 100 pounds, and his strength was completely above the two of them. Have you seen this kid? The newcomer took out the same bounty notice. Wang Bao narrowed his eyes and smiled. I didn't see it. This brother is using a great broadsword. Are you Guan Yang, one of the legendary 7 martial saints? Guan Yang smiled. It's rare that you recognize me. Are you here to kill Lin Muyu as well? Wang Bao laughed and said, It's not far now. This Lin Muyu is right in front of us. He could kill Hua Wan and Hua Tian with a broken sword, which shows how powerful he is. Since we are all here to kill him, why don't we get a helper and work together? Guan Yang nodded. That's good. One more person means one more person to look after. Wang Bao smiled, but he did not notice the killing intent that flashed past the corner of Guan Yang's mouth. Then please lead the way. Okay. Just as Wang Bao turned around, he suddenly felt a burning sensation on his back, followed by a heart-wrenching pain in his chest. Looking down, he saw a flame slowly piercing through his armor, and then a blade piercing through his heart. He did not even have time to scream before he fell to the ground. Bastard, how dare you sneak attack us? Lu Shun was furious. His long sword had already pierced towards Guan Yang's armpit like a snake. You're courting death. Guan Yang was extremely fast. He swung his long sword with Wang Bao's body, and with a dang sound, the hilt shook off Lu Shun's long sword. Then he rushed forward and kicked Lu Shun several steps back. Dragging the long sword behind him, Guan Yang raised his left fist covered in flames and punched Lu Shun's chest. Poochie! Blood splattered. The flaming fist penetrated Lu Shun's chest, and the flames instantly charred Lu Shun's internal organs. Guan Yang slowly withdrew his fist, and without looking at Lu Shun's body, he said indifferently, Do I need to share the reward with you trash for a mere Lin Muyu? Holding the long sword, he ran away at lightning speed. Finally found it. Lin Muyu clung on to a 1,000-year-old withered tree, feeling ecstatic. Ayu, what did you find? Chu Yao stood under the tree and asked in confusion. Lin Muyu pulled out his sword and carefully dug out the purple fungus growing out of the tree. Then, the fungus fell to the ground, and he hurriedly said, Sister Chu Yao, don't touch these things with your hands. This is? Chu Yao tilted her head to look at the strange fungus, and suddenly came to a realization. Heavens, is this a kind of herb? I've seen it in the Divine Alchemy tome before, and it seems to be poison, dragon's tongue fungus, right? Lin Muyu jumped down from the tree and smiled. That's right, it's dragon's tongue fungus. This is a highly poisonous herb. What are you doing with these dragon's tongue fungus? To refine poison. To refine poison? Chu Yao opened her small mouth and said in an educating tone, Grandpa taught us that we are alchemists and must uphold the heart of practicing medicine. How can we refine poison? Lin Muyu smiled and held Chu Yao's shoulder and said, Sister, we are being chased by countless people. If we don't refine poison, I'm afraid we won't even have the chance to practice medicine. Then what kind of poison do you want to refine? Clear breeze intoxication, a level 7 medicine. It scatters with the wind and can make people confused and slow down. Moreover, it is colorless and odorless and will not be discovered at all. However, the recipe for clear breeze intoxication requires a dose of intestine-severing orchid, and I haven't been able to find it yet. Chu Yao painstakingly recalled and said, The Divine Alchemy Tome has records of intestine-severing orchid, and it seems that this orchid only blooms at night. Its fragrance is very strange and a bit smelly. It's going to be night soon. Lin Muyu looked at the sky and said, Dragon's tongue fungus and intestine-severing orchid are both extremely poisonous things. Since there is dragon's tongue fungus here, there must be intestine-severing orchid here. We will find it soon. Saying this, Lin Muyu wrapped the dragon's tongue fungus in layers of leaves and put it into her bag. Just as she finished all of this, he suddenly felt a strong killing intent behind him. Be careful! He hurriedly pushed Chu Yao away, and without thinking, turned around and released his martial spirit. The black tortoise shell skill was added to the gourd wall, forming an iron-walled defense behind him. Bang! Sparks flew, and a long saber landed heavily on the black tortoise shell, and actually caused many cracks to appear on it. Just from this attack, it could be seen that the attacker's strength was even greater than Hua Tian's. After the flames dissipated, Guanyang stood in front of Lin Muyu, holding a long saber in his hand, and said with a faint smile, You are indeed worthy of being the kid who killed Hua Tian. You have some skills, but it seems that you can't kill Hua Tian with just this little bit of skill, can you? It seems that you must have taken advantage of the situation. Or you. Lin Muyu slowly pulled out the steel sword on her back, and asked with a calm look in her eyes. I am Guanyang, one of the 7 martial saints of the 7 Stars Forest. I have come to take your and that little girl's heads. Guanyang raised his hand and took out a piece of paper. He looked at the portrait on it, and then raised his head to look at Lin Muyu. After comparing them a few times, he said with a smile, It seems that it is you. If you have any last words, say them now, or else you won't have the chance. I should be the one who said that to you. Lin Muyu stood proudly in the same place, and the steel sword in her hand was already flashing with lightning. Arrogant, Guanyang had already seen through her. He could feel that Lin Muyu's strength was only at the level of 38 combat master, while he himself was a genuine level 48 battle saint. He could completely crush his opponent's strength. In the next moment he had already summoned his martial soul, which was a beast martial soul in the shape of a wolf. The wolf's head appeared on the saber, which made it look even more ferocious. Go to hell, kid! Guanyang roared angrily. He pushed his true chi and rushed forward, and with a twist of his saber he stabbed forward. Lin Muyu had been studying the Imperial Windsword art for many days, so she had already gained some experience in combat. She activated the wind symbol formula of the sword art, and retreated as fast as lightning. With 2 clangs she blocked the sudden stab of the saber. However, Guanyang's attacks were endless. He flipped the hilt of his saber and slashed forward in the air. The beast martial soul on the saber roared, and countless raging flames surged out. Bang! Lin Muyu had completely entered a defensive posture, and was forced to take a few steps back. Both of his arms felt numb. Guanyang's strength was too strong. He silently circulated his chi, and with a swoosh 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 sound, 3 gourd vines broke out of the ground. Guanyang laughed out loud. His boots suddenly stomped on the ground, and the flames spread out, burning all the gourd vines. He sneered, Is this all you've got? Then I really have to say goodbye. Lin Muyu roared in a low voice, and the gourd vines in all directions quickly rushed forward. Wolf force! Guanyang also roared angrily. The beast martial soul roared, and the raging flames sprayed everywhere. The strength of a level 48 battle saint was indeed amazing. It was as if he was going to start a big fire. The evening sky was lit up by the flames, and Lin Muyu's gourd vines were almost burnt to ashes. Only a few vines were left, and they were still entangling towards Guan Yang like poisonous snakes. Bang! Amidst the turbulence, Lin Muyu had already activated his falling star steps and rushed towards Guan Yang at a high speed. His long sword swept across, and he used Thunder Strike. In your dreams! Guan Yang raised his palm and slapped it fiercely. His strength was so strong that he actually shook off the Thunder Strike. However, it was obvious that Lin Muyu had more than this. The blade of her sword slanted, and Guan Yang's long sword lost its aim. At the same time, she used the falling star steps and jumped forward, and the long sword was already on Guan Yang's back. The flames were raging, and the steel sword could not pierce through Guan Yang's protective aura. His strength was way above Lin Muyu's. Sister Chu Yao, Yang Guan Acupoint. Just when Guan Yang's back was hit by the hilt of his blade, Lin Muyu had created a perfect opportunity. Guan Yang's back was wide open, and the Yang Guan Acupoint was the weakest acupoint on the waist. This was the perfect opportunity. Swoosh! A silver needle was quickly inserted into the Yang Guan Acupoint. Guan Yang was startled for a second, and in the next moment, a green vine broke out of the ground and entangled him. The thorns on the green vine pierced into his skin through the Yang Guan Acupoint. Bastard! Guan Yang was enraged. You're tuning in to the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.